58th Avenue in Manhattan at night is still crowded. Many well-dressed white-collar workers just got off work. Living in the cosmopolitan city of New York is very stressful. It's normal to work overtime until night or even midnight. On the streets, there are also many women wearing heavy makeup and they only appear outside at night. But Lin Yu, at the moment, is very excited. Even the biggest hobby of the past seems to have no interest. The pair of glasses is in his jacket pocket. However, what Lin Yu thinks is his own spatial variation ability. In the crowd, Lin Yu is like an ordinary office worker. However, as he walked, Lin Yu's figure seemed to suddenly become a vague shadow, and then disappeared. It was as if Lin Yu suddenly walked into a ripple. The pedestrians walking behind Lin Yu or beside him suddenly froze. Then, rubbing his eyes, I didn't know whether it was dazzling or something wrong. But those people didn't care too much, and continued to move forward. In the rush of people, Lin Yu's figure has disappeared. When he appeared again, he had already arrived on the space carrier. After going back and forth, I also came up with a superhero, but it only took Lin Yu less than 5 minutes. It makes Lin Yu feel a little scary. Space Gem seems to be able to be used casually, but for the user, the body will be greatly burdened. However, its own spatial variation ability is infinite use. And Lin Yu faintly felt that his ability was definitely more than just this kind of use. Spatial variation does not sound like just allowing oneself to travel through space at will. Only. For other ability, Lin Yu has not tried it yet. I don't know how to try. One's own system will always undergo strange mutations inadvertently. At the same time, a strange thing happened on the Earth. It's just that Lin Yu didn't pay attention. Jane Foster, who had met Lin Yu in a restaurant in New York, and his assistant Daisy came to an abandoned warehouse. In this warehouse, a lot of unusual things have occurred. Space seems to be a problem. This kind of space problem is exactly the direction of their scientific research. But just when Jane Foster was trying to study these strange events, Jane Foster's figure suddenly disappeared. Her figure suddenly appeared in a strange place. Here is the land of the seal of the ether, not on Earth. But due to the fluctuation of space, coupled with the attraction of ether, she suddenly appeared here. The ether is a weapon made by the Dark Elves. He can bring the whole world back to darkness. The material used to make this weapon is the Reality Gem, one of the 6 infinite gems. Reality Gem can turn one's ideas into reality, and it is very likely to be the most powerful one of the 6 infinite gems. Moreover, it is indestructible and cannot be eliminated at all. Can only be sealed. In addition, ether has another characteristic. That is, it can parasitize into other living bodies and absorb the vitality of the parasitized. And at the moment, the ether is the body of Jane Foster, who reappears in the world. At the same time, Asgard's guard, the god of Dor Heimdall, suddenly felt that he couldn't see Jane Foster, and told Thor about it. Although Thor hasn't seen Jane Foster for a long time. However, he has not let go of the girlfriend he knows on Earth. Finally, Thor once again descended on the Earth. After discovering Jane Foster's scene, he brought Jane Foster back to Asgard. But what they didn't know was that the appearance of the ether also awakened the Dark Elves who had been sleeping for tens of thousands of years. Their spacecraft has been sailing aimlessly in the universe. I have been waiting for the moment when the 9 worlds are connected in a straight line. This moment is their last chance. It is also their only chance to turn the whole universe into a dark world. They have detected the location of the ether, which is in the hands of their old enemy Acer. Under the leadership of their leader Malekith, the Dark Elves made a rigorous plan. The war is about to start. At the moment, Asgard. In the recent period of time, wars have continued in the 9 realms. Asgard's army is also acting as peace defenders everywhere. Almost all of their cells have been filled. On this day, the Asgard 3 warriors led the Asgard army and brought back several prisoners from other worlds, preparing to be imprisoned in Asgard's cell. But what they didn't know was that among these prisoners, a dark elf was mixed in. This is also one of Mariski's plans. With this tribe who got into the Asgard prison, the inside and the outside should fit together. When the dark elf was put in the cell, he took out a black object from his body and crushed it in his hand. The black thing is called the Cursing Stone. The Cursed Stone is a powerful weapon made by Malekith, the leader of the Dark Elves, from too much debris. Back then, the Dark Elves used this cursed stone to create countless cursed warriors and almost ruled the entire 9 realms. But in the end, He didn't expect to be defeated by Asgard's army led by Odin's father. This cursed stone is the last piece in the hands of the Dark Elves. When the cursed stone was crushed, in an instant, the Dark Elf's body changed to the color of magma, and the body began to become larger and stronger. It only took more than 10 seconds. He became a cursed warrior who was countless times stronger than before. The cursed warrior is extremely powerful. It is said that their power is more than twice as powerful as the Asgard gods. With just one punch, the cursed soldier smashed the door of the cell. Then, he released all the prisoners in the entire cell. The whole Asgard was messed up. Immediately afterwards, even worse things happened. The Dark Elf ship suddenly appeared in Asgard and launched an attack on Asgard's palace, and the cursed warrior of the Dark Elf, who had already mixed in before, smashed the palace's defensive controller inside. The entire palace was exposed to the attack of the Dark Elf spacecraft. This palace was just built by Odin, who was struggling and consuming a lot of manpower and material resources. Last time, under the influence of Lin Yu's negative mutation, his palace was destroyed once. However, he did not expect that the newly rebuilt palace would have suffered terrible damage once again. But the real disaster is not the damage to the palace. Rather, while Odin and Thor were busy dealing with the prisoners who escaped the cell, Malekith, the leader of the Dark Elf, quietly came to Queen Frigga's room. At the moment, Queen Frigga and Jane Foster are hiding there. And the real purpose of the Dark Elves is the ether of Jane Foster. On the space carrier, the days are still quite calm. The deck of the current space carrier has undergone earth-shaking changes from before. The previous airstrip, as well as all kinds of weapons and equipment, have been dismantled. It has completely turned into a huge amounts of swimming pool. Except that the water has not been brought in, the rest is basically finished. The construction of the swimming pool is perfect. It even has an automatic heating function. A constant temperature can be maintained 24 hours a day. It's like a huge hot spring floating in the sky. After all, it is the best engineering team in the United States military. It is indeed a little overkill to build this swimming pool. The two women have already begun to dream about the situation after waiting for the water to be poured into the pool. Until then, soaking in the hot spring every day, admiring the scenery of the sky, and going wherever you want to go, is simply a fairy-like life. The two have even started preparing for a pool party. On the shortlist, there are several high-level agents from S.H.I.E.L.D., Natasha Romanoff, Sharon's old friend Hill Agent, and even the top lady of the United States. Lin Yu didn't know when these two women met the top madam. In short, the two women are happy, and Lin Yu's life is also a lot happier. Lin Yu is also looking forward to this pool party. However, the first wife Lin Yu thinks it is better not to invite. After all, the age should not be young. If you have to invite the top woman, that's his daughter too. But for a while, Lin Yu still has some worries. Now, the story of the Marvel world has passed a lot. Some Lin Yu participated, some did not. For example, when Thor first came and fought with the destroyer mecha, Lin Yu did not participate. And the fight between Iron Man Tony and Ivan, Lin Yu did not pay attention to it at that time. With these two plots alone, Lin Yu missed more than 10 plot points. And now, if your system wants to advance to the next level, you still need a full 50 plot points. This is a huge number. Lin Yu feels that if we follow the current progress, Thanos may not be far away when he will descend on the Earth. And myself, by that time, if you have a level 6 system, it is estimated that you will be more secure. After all, after level 6, the system will start time variation. In the face of time variation, it is estimated that even if Thanos owns the time gem, there is no way to take Lin Yu. So, Lin Yu still has a strong sense of urgency in his heart. And Lin Yu has a more admired role in Marvel movies. That is Queen Frigga. In his previous life, Lin Yu was even very sad when he saw Frigga being killed by Malekith, the leader of the Dark Elves in the movie. Think before and after. Lin Yu finally decided to visit Asgard. Can not only try to save Frigga, but also gain a lot of plot points. Kill two birds with one stone. If you think this way before, Lin Yu has no way to achieve this goal. But now, after level 5 of the system, he has the ability of spatial variation. It is not impossible to go to Asgard. Although it only has a possibility, Lin Yu also wants to try it. This day, Lin Yu finally called Wanda and Sharon over. There was some excitement on the faces of the two women. It seems that the two are discussing where to get water. The water in the swimming pool must be clean. Seeing the appearance of the two women, Lin Yu also smiled slightly, and then said, I have an idea. I want to visit Thor's hometown, Asgard. Do you want to go together? Upon hearing Lin Yu's words, the two women immediately opened their eyes. Then he asked at the same time, what? Asgard? They naturally knew that Asgard existed. Since Thor came to the earth, people on earth have basically known that there is such a kingdom of gods outside the earth. But what Lin Yu said made the two of them a little bit incredulous. Go to Asgard. How to get to? Wanda asked suspiciously, brother, you have a fever. How far is Asgard from here? How to get there? Aside. Sharon also nodded, expressing the same thoughts as Wanda. Lin Yu smiled and said, you know our grocery store is a little weird, right? The two women nodded at the same time. They naturally know this. Although it is not clear why it is a little weird, some strange things do often appear in the grocery store. But what does the weirdness of the grocery store have to do with going to Asgard? Seeing the two nodding and shaking their heads, Lin Yu explained again. I recently discovered that in our grocery store, we can travel through space. This is the rhetoric that Lin Yu has long thought of. Since you don't want to reveal the existence of the system, and don't want to explain too much, then push everything to the grocery store. Anyway, my own grocery store is very weird, and it is recognized by the two women. Hearing Lin Yu's words, the two women nodded thoughtfully. It is normal for any strange things to happen in the grocery store. But even if we can travel through space, can it allow us to go to a specific destination? Sharon asked again in confusion. Lin Yu hasn't figured out how to explain this question yet. I can only say, I don't know this, but I tried it before, and it seemed that I wanted to go back to the space carrier, so I came back right away. Sharon nodded. Don't ask more. What Lin Yu likes most about these two women is that they don't like to ask questions. Go. I'll take you to Asgard to play. Lin Yu waved his hand in excitement, and then the three figures suddenly disappeared in the spaceship. Immediately afterwards, the three of them appeared in the grocery store. This strange feeling made Wanda and Sharon stunned for an instant. Jing Ran really came to the grocery store in an instant. Amazing. But, after a moment of excitement, the two women suddenly discovered a strange thing. Just now, didn't Lin Yu say that there can be space shuttle in the grocery store? Why was it possible to shuttle from the space carrier to the grocery store just now? This is not quite right. Quite wrong. The two women looked at Lin Yu at the same time. And at the moment, Lin Yu also seemed to realize that something was wrong. Just now, I seem to be a little proud and presumptuous. Broken. Exposed. Lin Yu touched the back of his head, then Shan-san smiled. I hurriedly changed the topic. I heard that the water around Asgard is the purest water in the world. Wait for us to investigate, and then we will bring it over. This topic is really easy to use. The two women are worrying about how to fill the pool with water. But Asgard? To transport water to Asgard? It sounds like a fantasy. Lin Yu realized that he had said the wrong thing again. He hurriedly said again, go, let's go there. Lin Yu waved his hand gently. On the second floor of the grocery store, a spatial ripple appeared in front of a few people. Then all three of them were covered. Asgard. Just built, in a brand new palace. Frigga and Jane Foster are in the Queen's room. Odin was dealing with the dark elves who came in from outside. And Thor, dealing with the prisoners who ran out of the prison. The whole palace was messed up, but, at the moment, Black, the leader of the dark elves, Malekith brought his own people to the door of the Queen's room. After all, the ether is a weapon he built by himself. Therefore, he can accurately find Jane Foster's position by relying on the ether's call to himself. When he saw the dark elf appearing in front of his door, Frigga was not shocked, because, as the only witch in Asgard, she has a keen insight. She had guessed the purpose of these dark elves. Therefore, in order to protect Jane Foster, the woman who is about to become her own daughter-in-law, she took the initiative to stand up. Standing in front of the dark elf leader Malekith. As a queen of the Acer Protoss, she is not a simple vase. Suddenly a short sword appeared in Frigga's hand. Fighting with Malekith. But, just when the two were fighting, the cursed warrior who came out of the prison suddenly appeared behind Frigga. At the moment, Royal Palace of Asgard, Queen Frigga's room. The cursed warrior easily caught Frigga. His strength is too strong, and his defense is even more terrifying. Frigga's head can't cause any harm to him at all. And Frigga couldn't break free of his control at all. And, in order to protect Jane Foster, Frigga used her illusion on Jane Foster. Therefore, she was easily caught by the cursed warrior. And at the moment, after Frigga was caught, Malkis, the leader of the Dark Elves, finally walked to Jane Foster. There was a hint of excitement on his face. Ether, the call to oneself is getting stronger and stronger. And I am getting closer and closer to completing that great mission. However, when the Dark Elf leader Malekis reached out to catch Jane Foster, but found out, Jane Foster in front of me was just a phantom. It was an illusion created by Frigga using illusion. Malekis suddenly turned his head, looked at Asgard Queen Frigga, and asked sharply, where did you hide her? At this moment, a smile appeared on Frigga's face. As a queen, she has her own stubbornness. She had already decided in her heart that she would never send Jane Foster into the hands of the enemy. What's more, that woman is still his son's favorite woman. I won't say anything, you don't want to find where she is. Frigga sneered. You are looking for death, Malekis said viciously. And he knew that since this woman said so, he would never get any news from her. Malekis glanced at the cursed warrior holding Frigga. The meaning in the eyes is obvious. Kill this woman. The cursed warrior nodded slightly and drew a long sword behind him. And it reached Frigga's back waist. It seems that in the next second, Frigga will be stabbed to death by a sword. But just then, something strange happened. Just as the cursed warrior was about to kill Frigga, a strange spatial ripple suddenly appeared in front of him. It was like a stone dropped into the water. Immediately afterwards, one man and two women, three figures suddenly appeared in this room. It is Lin Yu who just disappeared from the grocery store. This scene stunned Malekis. He has lived for countless years, but he has never seen such a weird situation. Someone can travel through the void at will. He could see the ripples in the space just now very clearly. As an old guy, he can perceive the fluctuation of space just now. Except for Malekis. The long sword in the hands of the cursed warrior also stopped. Stared at the three human beings who suddenly appeared. The appearance of human beings is not much different from that of Asgard. So, he thought that these three were Asgard people. The cursed warrior strangled Frigga's neck and took 2 steps back. Watching the three suddenly appearing cautiously. He did not kill Frigga immediately. Because, in the current situation, it seems better for Frigga to be a hostage. Who are you? Malekis frowned and asked coldly. But Frigga, who was held by the cursed warrior, had a hint of surprise on her face. She didn't know Lin Yu 3 people, but she saw Mjolnir in Sharon's hand. Mjolnir was caught in the hands of that woman. They should be the people on Earth that their son Thor said. Those Earthlings who used to fight alongside him. Obviously, these people are friends, not enemies. Although they took Mjolnir, their son Thor has never regarded them as enemies. At this moment, Frigga suddenly said, "Be careful, they are dark elves, very powerful." At the moment, Lin Yu and the three are still slightly dizzy. This is the first time they have experienced such a long-distance space teleportation, which makes them feel a little uncomfortable. But obviously Malekis was no longer willing to wait any longer. After a long time, it is easy to produce other changes. After all, this is in Asgard, the old home of one's own race enemy. Maybe Odin would react at some point. At that time, I will face more threats. Malekis also drew a long sword from behind him. He is ready to start first. Although the way these three humans appeared was a bit weird, in the current situation, there was still a hostage in their hands, and they would definitely be frightened in battle. It's a good time to kill them in one fell swoop. Ding. The dark elf leader Malekis had a bad idea for the host in his heart. The murder weapon long sword in his hand has been mutated, and the negative mutated into a candy long sword. Ding. The cursed warrior of the dark elves has a bad idea for the host. The murder weapon long sword in his hand has undergone a negative mutation and has become a plastic toy long sword. Do it. Malekis suddenly shouted. He waved the long sword in his hand. At the same time, the cursed warrior also stabbed the long sword in his hand towards Frigga's waist. In an instant, the battle began, and at the moment, Lin Yu also recovered from the slight dizziness. Especially Sharon and Wanda entered a state of battle in an instant. Wanda's body was instantly covered with red light, and the figure slowly floated. As for Sharon, the light on his body is brilliant, and the lightning is all over his body in an instant. Only Lin Yu suddenly folded his chest with his hands, and took a step back slightly. then smiled and looked at everything in front of him. It seems that he is not prepared to participate in this battle at all. But only Lin Yu knows why he wants to retreat. There is no other reason. It's just because Lin Yu doesn't want the candy in Maleki's hands to get on his body. The long sword in Maleki's hand was swung first. But in the process of waving, he was surprised to find my long sword has become lighter. Then, in his horrified gaze, the long sword changed completely. It seems crystal clear. There was also a sweet smell from his long sword to his nose. What's the situation? Maleki's was shocked. Why does my saber have a sweet taste? Why does it become translucent? This sweetness smells really good. It smells like oranges. Immediately afterwards, under his powerful swing, the long sword was overwhelmed and broke into several knots. Cracking, all fell to the ground beside Wanda's feet. Even Wanda, who was about to shoot, was stunned. And the other side, when the long sword in the hand of the cursed warrior pierced Frigga's waist, a strange expression suddenly appeared on Frigga's face. Like, kind of itchy. What's the situation? She was already determined to die just now, but that long sword didn't even pierce his body. I just stabbed myself a little bit. Immediately afterwards, the cursed soldier was horrified to discover the long sword in his hand was actually bent. And the appearance has also become a bright green. Soft. Frigga was stunned. Sharon, who was about to throw Mjolnir in his hand at the cursed warrior, was also stunned. The situation of the battle became a little weird in an instant. 163 chapters drastically changed the direction of the plot. The entire battlefield. The one who can see most clearly should be Frigga. She could personally feel the painless but itchy attack from the cursed warrior, and at the same time saw the fragmentation of the long sword in the hands of the dark elf leader Maleki's. Frigga was also quite shocked. Immediately afterwards, she looked at the three Lin Yu who had just appeared. The performance of the two women was normal. Although one of the women was still holding his son Thor's former weapon, Mjolnir, the energy in the other woman made Frigga feel a little scary. But their performance is very normal. At least one is responding to the enemy's attack, and the other is preparing to rescue himself. Among these three people, the only performance that made Frigga feel a little abnormal was Lin Yu, who was standing there with his hands on his chest and looking at it with a smile. He doesn't care about anything. It's like watching a movie. This shows what? Frigga is quite smart. As a child raised by a witch, no one in Asgard can match her insight and intelligence. So, she immediately noticed that this weird battle situation seemed to be caused by the shameless young man. Frigga's heart was very shocked, because the change of the two long swords is a bit like illusion. And she should be the most proficient in illusion among the 9 realms. But even if she was extremely proficient in illusion, she couldn't understand the shape of these two long swords. The change of the two long swords is real. The long sword that turned into a piece of debris and clearly exudes some sweetness, it didn't look like an illusion at all. And the long sword that the cursed warrior stood behind him was even less like an illusion. Because illusion can only change the appearance. Even if the shape of the long sword is obscured by illusion, its sharpness cannot be changed. And the long sword behind him is obviously not sharp at all. The more Frigga thought about it, the more frightened. All this, although it looks like illusion, but it is more like the two long swords have changed in essence. Who is that young man? How powerful is he? Can you actually change the shape of an object in essence? It said, only one thing can achieve this effect. That is the reality gem in Infinite Gems, but the current reality gem is in Jane Foster's body. Frigga was puzzled. At the moment, when Lin Yu just came here, the system reminder sounded in his mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for the first time meeting the core supporting role of the Marvel world, Asgard Queen Frigga, and rewards 1 plot point. Lin Yu smiled slightly. At this time, Lin Yu suddenly said, Wanda, save that woman. Lin Yu came here for 2 purposes. One is for the plot point, and the other is to save Frigga. Therefore, Lin Yu gave an order to Wanda without hesitation. The 2 women, Sharon and Wanda, are very powerful. However, it is more appropriate for Wanda to do this kind of thing to save people. After all, her crimson power has a strong control ability. In the movies of the previous life, Wanda can even control Thanos with his own power, leaving him with no power to fight back. It should be more than enough to deal with a cursed warrior. After hearing Lin Yu's order, Wanda did not hesitate. The red light on her body instantly appeared on the cursed warrior under her control. Then, the cursed soldier was horrified to find that his body was floating slowly. And the body is out of control. The cursed warrior is the most powerful warrior of the Dark Elves. Their power is stronger than that of the Asgard gods. But in the face of Wanda's crimson power, it was a bit not enough. Under the horrified gaze of the cursed warrior and the Dark Elf leader Malekith, the cursed warrior's hands slowly let go of Frigga, and his body even groaned overwhelmedly, but it didn't help. Finally, his body floated slowly. Without a place to burrow, he is like a leaf of duckweed in the sea, unable to use his strength at all. At this moment, Frigga hurriedly left from the cursed warrior and came to Lin Yu's side. She has determined that these three people are here to save herself. Although I don't know the reason, it is obviously safest to stand next to three people. At the moment, Malekith suddenly took 2 steps back quietly. Behind him is the window of Frigga's room behind him. He wanted to escape in the window. Because his biggest reliance now is to curse the soldiers. And the cursed warrior is now completely controlled, and he can't help himself at all. Everyone present saw Malekith's thoughts, but no one stopped it. Frigga is not prevented by that ability. And Lin Yu didn't want to stop it. 2 women, when there is no Lin Yu's order, they will never take it lightly. But at this moment, with a loud shout, he suddenly appeared outside the door of Queen Frigga's room. Soon after, Thor, who was shining with lightning all over, appeared at the door. When he saw the dark elf in the room, he immediately threw an axe over. At the moment Thor, the weapon in his hand has long been replaced with a real storm axe. The storm axe is quite terrifying. He rushed to Malekith standing on the edge of the window extremely fast. But Malekith was prepared, and he had already planned to escape. Seeing Thor coming, he just turned over and jumped off the window. A spaceship caught his body under his call. Immediately afterwards, the spacecraft quickly left everyone's sight. Thor wanted to chase after him, but when he saw everyone in the room, he stopped again. Because he knew all the people in the room. "You guys, how did Asgard come from?" Thor asked eagerly. At the moment, outside the door of the room, Odin was finally late. When he saw that his queen was safe and sound, his mood instantly relaxed a lot. But when he saw the cursed warrior controlled by Wanda, his face suddenly became difficult to look at again. As the god king of Asgard, he naturally knew this kind of thing that had disappeared for countless years. At the same time, I also know the horror of cursing warriors. Their strength is extremely powerful. If it is simply a comparison of strength and defense, even oneself is probably not their opponent. But immediately afterwards, Odin was shocked. Because only then did he discover that the body of the originally cursed warrior had slowly floated in the air. Moreover, there is some red power pervading his body. The source of those powers turned out to be a little girl? What is the identity of this little girl? Can you control such a powerful cursed warrior, Chun? Just when Odin looked at Wanda and the cursed warrior under her control in shock. In Lin Yu's mind, the system reminder sounded again. Ding. Congratulations to the host for seeing the core protagonist of the Marvel world for the first time, the King of God, Odin, rewarding 3 plot points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for his in-depth participation in the core plot of the Marvel world. Frigga was killed, and the plot trend was changed drastically, with a bonus of 2 + 3 plot points for a total of 5 plot points. Note. Depending on the degree to which the plot is changed, different plot points will be awarded to prevent the main supporting role from being killed, and 3 plot points can be awarded. Hearing the prompt sound of the system, Lin Yu was stunned for an instant. It's fine to see Odin rewards 2 plot points. Unexpectedly, the plot that prevented Frigga from being killed actually rewarded 5 plot points at one time. You know, even the final battle of the Avengers Alliance in New York is only 5 o'clock. And the system explains very clearly that changing the direction of the plot can reward so many plot points. This was the first time Lin Yu found out. I used to know that there are rewards for participating in the plot, but I did not expect that there will be rewards for changing the plot to Jingren. Lin Yu's eyes lit up and seemed to have found a new way. A way to get plot points quickly. At this moment, the room was full of people. Odin's family of 3, and Lin Yu's family of 3, 6 people stood quietly in the center of the room. It seems that the situation is a bit awkward. The most embarrassing is Thor. In fact, his relationship with Lin Yu and others is not very good. It's not bad, but it's not good either. He didn't even know why Lin Yu and others came to Asgard. Definitely. I don't even know how they got here. Obviously he didn't come by Bifrost, but Odin was the first to speak. As the God King of Asgard, his majesty is extremely majestic, especially in the face of the uninvited guests like Lin Yu. Although Wanda still controls the cursed warrior, Lin Yu and others are still uninvited. Odin hit the ground hard with the eternal spear in his hand. There was a boom. Then he said, "Who are you? What is the purpose of coming to my palace?" I heard Odin's words. Thor stepped back slightly, seeming to be some distance away from Lin Yu and others. He also didn't know why Lin Yu came here. What's more, he doesn't want to fight against his father now. The other side. Wanda and Sharon were immediately unhappy when they heard Odin's slightly sly tone. They don't care about God King or God King. The strength of the body began to condense again. But the two women looked at Lin Yu, and suddenly they froze again. Because Lin Yu still looks like that. He put his arms around his chest, with an unknown smile on his face. Obviously, Lin Yu is not going to let the two women take action. Since Lin Yu didn't speak, the two women who were mainly Lin Yu were not ready to take action. But what makes Odin somewhat unexpected is that at this time, Frigga suddenly stood up and came to her. "They are not enemies, they saved me just now," Frigga explained hurriedly. Listening to what his wife said, Odin suddenly showed a trace of doubt. "They saved Frigga? You said they saved you?" Odin asked. Frigga nodded and said, "The cursed warrior just wanted to kill me, they showed up and saved me." Although Frigga didn't understand why Odin and Thor looked at the three of them, their eyes were not very friendly. But she felt that these three people were not bad guys. It's just a little weird, but at this moment, Lin Yu smiled slightly, completely ignoring Odin and others. Directly speaking to Sharon and Wanda. "Let's go back first, and I will bring you here to play again." Lin Yu at the moment is in a good mood. Too lazy to care about Odin. This time in Asgard, Lin Yu lived a total of 8 plot points. It can be said to be full of gains, and I have also experimented with the true strength of the spatial variation of my own system, plus I saved my better-looking Marvel character, and it can be considered a great accomplishment. It's not interesting to stay here anymore, but hearing Lin Yu's words, Odin suddenly sneered twice. Although Lin Yu and the three rescued Frigga, they didn't put themselves in the eyes. These Mutate children come as they want, and leave as they want. Do you really think that this God King is a decoration? In my own palace, in my own territory, I even ignored myself. I'm looking for death. Guards, take them down for me, Odin shouted coldly. Behind him, a group of guards suddenly ran in. Frigga was surprised. Hastily wanted to stop Odin's behavior. She felt that there was no need for such a big fight. And this is not just because Lin Yu and others saved her. It is also because she feels from the bottom of her heart that the strength of the three Lin Yu is a bit terrifying. Especially the man who put his hands on his chest and looked at everything quietly with a smile on his face. If Odin had to provoke the opponent, he might bring a powerful enemy to Asgard. But at the moment, Lin Yu still had a smile on his face, and then gently waved. A spatial ripple suddenly appeared beside the three Lin Yu. Then, like a phantom, the three figures slowly disappeared. It's like never been here. The guards who were going to catch the three Lin Yu were also stunned on the spot. Odin was shocked. He looked at the spatial ripple in front of him in horror, and a huge wave was set off in his heart. These people can teleport at will, too frightening. Odin has never seen such a weird situation, but even more shocked, it was Frigga. The departure of Lin Yu and others is exactly the same as when they arrived. When they came, Frigga hadn't seen it clearly, but she had seen it clearly the second time they saw it. After seeing a few people leave, she realized that she had thought that the change of the two swords was an illusion. What a stupid idea. These people actually mastered such a terrifying space shuttle ability. Then there is no need to use such a low-level method as illusion. Frigga's eyes crossed in front of him, seems to see something. Hastily walked forward 2 steps, she leaned down and picked up a shiny object on the ground. There are many such debris on the ground. Holding it in the palm of her hand, she rubbed her palms lightly, and then Frigga even put it next to her mouth and licked her tongue lightly. Really? My guess is true. These are actually candies. Orange-flavored candy. But that sword is clearly a real long sword. But why did it suddenly become a candy sword? Frigga shook her head, completely unable to think of any reason. But at this moment, she has no time to think about it. Because after Lin Yu and the three left, the cursed warrior originally controlled by Wanda was suddenly liberated. Grasping the long sword in his hand, a sword struck a soldier's body. Then he suddenly found out the long sword in his hand was still green. And cut on that soldier's body, the long sword actually bends. Simply, he threw away the long sword in his hand, and then fought the guards. Those guards are not opponents at all. Thor and Odin also joined the battle. But at this time, the entire palace suddenly began to violently shake. It's as if there was an earthquake. The wall covering on top of the head also began to fall off. Odin was dumbfounded. How does this scene feel a bit familiar? Wrong. More than just familiarity, this is simply Odin's nightmare. The last time I encountered this situation, the entire palace collapsed. And the current situation is exactly the same as the appearance of the palace just beginning to collapse at that time. Last time, it was probably in disrepair, but now it is clearly the palace that I just built. How could it collapse again? Odin was completely dumbfounded. At the moment, what happened to Asgard has nothing to do with Lin Yu. Because they have returned to the space carrier. But just when Lin Yu just landed on the ground, the voice of the system rang in his mind again. Ding. The King Odin is disrespectful to the host. His palace has undergone a negative mutation, and he decided to disintegrate automatically and stay away from this brutal master of the king. Hearing this system prompt, Lin Yu couldn't help but was taken aback. It seems that the Asgard palace has been negative before, it has mutated once. This time, it turned out to be has it mutated again? Lin Yu couldn't help but smiled bitterly. This mutation is not very harmful and extremely insulting. It seems Odin is going to be unlucky. Asgard. The palace is constantly collapsing, and the cursed warrior is also constantly killing. Even if Odin and Thor shoot at the same time, there is no way to take him for a while. The defensive power of the cursed warrior is too strong. Even the hard storm axe and eternal spear were only slightly injured. And in the constant shaking of the mountains, this battle was fought quite frustrated. Odin even thought that if his daughter Hela was still there, it would be easier. Looking at his son again, Odin couldn't help but sigh slightly. But fortunately, Odin and Thor teamed up to constantly add wounds to the cursed warrior. After a full 10 minutes, Thor roared and exhausted the greatest power of his whole body, and an axe directly chopped off the head of the cursed warrior. This battle is finally over, unfortunately. In these 10 minutes, the entire Asgard palace was destroyed once again. The only thing that is still intact is probably the prison inside the palace. Odin wanted to cry without tears. Begin to mobilize the entire Asgard people to rebuild the palace again. And in order to make the palace stronger, he plans to double the thickness of the wall. 2 days later, Asgard's palace is still under construction. Odin has also been busy building the palace, but Thor's girlfriend Jane Foster seems to be getting worse. Ether has been in her body for a long time, and has been slowly absorbing her vitality. If it were the Dark Elves or the people of Asgard, the vitality was huge after all. But Jane Foster is just an ordinary earthling, and the vitality simply cannot support this kind of consumption. But Thor has learned a piece of news after finding his father a few times. To take out the ether from Jane Foster's body, in this world, apart from the Dark Elves, I am afraid that no one else can do it. After all, the ether was made by the Dark Elves. Only they can easily control this terrifying weapon. Frigga also saw that Jane Foster's life was slowly passing by. However, she couldn't help it, can only comfort Thor constantly. Seeing that his girlfriend is getting worse every day, Thor finally made up his mind to save his girlfriend. The rescue plan is to find Malkis, the leader of the Dark Elf. After letting him absorb the ether, then kill him. It is indeed a very perfect plan. But in order to sneak out sneakily, Thor must use Loki's power. Only Loki knew of a secret passage in Asgard. And at the moment, on the earth, it was here that Odin was busy building his own palace. And Thor and Loki had secretly taken Jane Foster to find the Dark Elf. Lin Yu's space carrier. Standing in a swimming pool that has been built but has not been filled with water. Lin Yu closed his eyes tightly, as if something was brewing. And Wanda and Sharon, wearing very cool clothes, stood behind Lin Yu, their eyes full of expectation. Because Lin Yu said he would change the water for them. After a few minutes, Lin Yu suddenly opened his eyes. A smile suddenly flashed across his face. Then, in his mind, the system prompt sounded suddenly. Ding. The space in front of the host felt the host's urgent need to fill the pool with water, and it mutated, connecting the waterfall on the edge of the Asgard continent. In the space in front of Lin Yu, a huge amount of mouth suddenly appeared. It's like the kind of space portal that appears when traveling with the space gem. Immediately afterwards, countless currents poured in from that space portal. Cool and clear. Asgard's water is the purest water condensed in the universe. And there is a trace of Asgard's supernatural power in it. Ordinary people can live longer even with a sip. But Lin Yu is directly used to take a bath, simply extravagant. In just a few minutes, the entire pool was filled. More than half of the deck of the entire space carrier has become a swimming pool. Turn on the heating device on the edge of the pool, and the entire pool will become a hot spring in a while. Cool. With a loud roar, Lin Yu took off his clothes and started playing in the swimming pool. Lin Yu is actually an otaku. He likes to play games and is not very interested in this kind of sports. But this swimming pool is really cool, and the buoyancy of the water drawn from Asgard is much greater than ordinary water. Lin Yu does not even need to make any movements to easily float on the surface of the water. At this moment, Wanda and Sharon also swam to Lin Yu's side, lying gently on the surface of the water. Wanda never thought that after she came out of the orphanage, she would have such a life. She used to think that she would be a gangster in the future. Become a member of a local gangster in New York. If you are lucky, you may be a small leader. If you are unlucky, you will die quietly in the gang fight. Until I met Lin Yu. At the beginning, Lin Yu treated her very well, but Lin Yu at that time looked very ordinary. But later, Wanda suddenly discovered that Lin Yu became more and more mysterious. It also brings me a stronger sense of security. Until now. Although Wanda also has the power of terror. But she always felt that her brother was definitely not an ordinary person. Although my brother often imposes a lot of strange things on the grocery store. But Wanda had known for a long time that it was his brother who was really weird. It's just that she doesn't want to expose Lin Yu. Except Wanda. Sharon also turned her head slightly and glanced at the man who was a little thin but made her feel a little attached. Yes. Since Sharon came to Lin Yu's side and became his assistant. Sharon found that his attachment to Lin Yu became stronger and stronger. Sometimes, she even couldn't help but secretly imagine some unsightly scenes. Thinking of this, Sharon's face suddenly showed a blush. She turned her head hurriedly, not daring to look at Lin Yu's face again. Sharon turned her head and sighed slightly. She suddenly felt that she should take the initiative. Otherwise, when a better woman appears, will Lin Yu be snatched away from him in an instant? The peaceful days passed quickly. Except for Lin Yu, the life of the three is very peaceful. On the earth, another person's life is also very peaceful. That is the only supreme magician ancient one on earth. But this kind of peaceful day is quite tormenting for her. Because since the Battle of New York, she has never left her mirror space again. Except when eating, there will be disciples who bring food over. She didn't even touch anyone. Because, for so long, she has never been able to eliminate the green rune in her body. She couldn't even find the green rune now. Ancient One could feel that the green energy was still in his body. However, I can't find where they are at all. They are like parasites, hidden deep in their bodies. However, just when Ancient One was sitting cross-legged in the mirrored space, continuing to study where the green energy is. A message from Holy Place in London suddenly shocked her. Earth, after the Battle of New York, finally ushered in the invasion of alien life again. And this time is exactly the moment when the 9 realms connect is about to become a straight line. Ancient One's face was pale and slowly stood up from the ground. Her mood is very hesitation. My duty is to protect the earth from the invasion of other life. But now, if I haven't solved my physical condition, I just go out hastily. It is very likely that even bigger changes will occur. Ancient One, a decision must be made as soon as possible. Because a huge spaceship has appeared in Greenwich, London. Dark elves descend on the earth. The advent of the dark elves made a lot of movement. Lin Yu also got the news through the report of Bumblebee for the first time. Actually, Lin Yu thought that the dark elf might not come. Because in Asgard, his appearance may have caused a change in the plot. But unexpectedly, the dark elf still gained ether and came to Earth. Now that he is here, Lin Yu will naturally not miss this battle. After all, The arrival of the Dark Elves on Earth represents the final battle of Thor 2's plot. This kind of decisive battle will have at least 5 plot points. At the moment, after going to Asgard last time, Lin Yu's plot point has increased to 11 points. Want to make the system advance to the 6th level, it's nearly 39 points. Lin Yu will never miss this kind of good opportunity for plot points. Bumblebee. Lin Yu shouted. A few seconds later, the Hornet appeared in front of Lin Yu. Lin Yu directly ordered, let's go to Greenwich in London. Good boss, Bumblebee replied. Then, the 4 huge thrusters on the space carrier began to roar. The huge space carrier left the sky over New York for the first time. It is also the first time that it is about to appear in front of the world. Now, Greenwich, London, not far from the holy place in London. A huge amounts of black spaceship appeared suddenly. The earth quaked. Countless pedestrians ran away in fright. Countless high-rise buildings were crashed into ruins by the black spaceship. But, fortunately, the Dark Elves didn't come to invade, and they didn't kill the people on Earth. Their only purpose is to change the entire universe through ether. Let the entire universe plunge into darkness. Finally, the huge amounts of spacecraft slowly stopped on a square in Greenwich. The hatch of the spaceship opened, and the Dark Elf leader Malekith walked down from the spaceship with a group of Dark Elf warriors. He slowly raised his head and looked to the sky. A total of 8 huge amounts of the world entrance are floating above Greenwich. The 9 realms have almost connected the city in a straight line. The Dark Elf leader Male Kissface was overjoyed. At the moment, he has integrated ether, but at this time, the figure of Thor suddenly appeared in Greenwich. He is holding a horrible-looking storm axe, his body flashes with electric lights, and his face is extremely angry. Because, when he and Loki found Malekith, Loki unfortunately died. He witnessed his brother's death with his own eyes. Although Loki often makes trouble everywhere, Thor has always treated Loki as his own brother. Loki's death was a big blow to Thor. Thor at this time has not experienced the death of various relatives and friends around him. So, my heart is still very fragile. Asgard, haven't you given up yet? The Dark Elf leader Malekith said coldly. He was also very angry. This Asgard is like a ghost. It's really hateful. At this time, Thor said coldly, you are going to die. Thor doesn't want to talk nonsense at all. He just wanted to kill Malekith to avenge Loki. Definitely. He still doesn't know that Loki has actually sneaked back to Asgard quietly. At the same time, just when Thor and Malekith were about to go to war, the figure of Ancient One has also appeared on the roof of the holy place in London. The spaceship of the Dark Elves is only a few kilometers away from the holy place in London. Ancient One can even clearly see the faint dark red light in Malekith's eyes. But Ancient One does not intend to make a move. What she is most worried about right now is not the Dark Elf. It's the evil energy in his body. After coming out of the mirror space, she discovered that this green energy was even more terrifying than she had imagined. There is nothing in the mirror space, so Ancient One can't feel it. And appeared behind the outside world. She only discovered that the evil energy seemed to faintly affect her mind. Spiritual Ancient One can feel that he is now like a seed carrying that kind of energy. It seems that it can affect people around me at any time. This is a pretty scary feeling. It has a completely different feeling from Dormammu's dark energy. He also has dark energy in his body, but Ancient One can easily control those dark energy without affecting his own mind. But those green energies are different. Those green energies have been slowly affecting their brains. But Ancient One has nothing to do with them. So, Ancient One just stood quietly on the roof of the holy place in London, watching the battle in the distance. If Thor doesn't show up, she might have to make a move. However, Thor hasn't lost the battle yet, she won't risk being corroded by those green energies. But just then, Ancient One seemed to feel something suddenly. She raised her head and looked to the sky. Something huge seems to have appeared again. Although nothing can be seen above the sky, Ancient One can feel that something is coming with her powerful strength. Ancient One's eyes gradually narrowed, she has a very bad feeling. This battle didn't seem to be as simple as I thought. At this moment, on the battlefield, Thor and Malekith didn't make an immediate move either. The two of them also felt something suddenly appeared above them. Thor and Malekith raised their heads at the same time. Looked to the sky. At the moment, on the deck of a space carrier, Lin Yu stood quietly on the edge of the deck, looking at the battlefield below. Beside him, Wanda and Sharon stood quietly, but they did not look down. Instead, he looked at the side of the space carrier. There is a huge amounts of portal, and Gialli is quietly in the sky. Not one, but 8, in each portal, the scenery is different. Some are full of magma, and fire is everywhere. Some are blue, full of icy ice everywhere. The two women were stunned by the sight in front of them. They have never seen such a magical scenery, definitely. People on Earth have never seen it. Because the 9 worlds are connected in a straight line, it will only happen once in tens of thousands of years. At the moment, just when Lin Yu was about to jump down to participate in this battle, and gain plot points. In Lin Yu's mind, the voice of the system suddenly sounded. Ding. The host summoned object, the Fel Warlock Gul'dan on the plane of World of Warcraft, has noticed the Fel coordinates on the Earth, and the space in front of him has mutated, connecting the position of the Fel coordinates. The battle between the Dark Elf leader Malkis and Thor has already begun. 2 of them, one possesses a weapon made of infinite gems like ether. A storm axe that is considered top in the entire Marvel world. In an instant, a terrifying battle broke out. But just when they were fighting, on the space carrier, Lin Yu kicked Erha at his feet again. No matter what the battle is, Erha is Lin Yu who is at the forefront of this change. Definitely, it's not that Lin Yu forced it, but it was originally willing to rush to the front. Especially after the slaughter of the symbiote and integrate, its desire for flesh and blood food has reached a quite terrifying level. Even seeing flesh and blood will drool. Lin Yu felt a little sick. But fortunately Erha just drools when he sees outsiders. Otherwise, Lin Yu would definitely not take it on the space carrier. At the moment, just when Thor was fighting Malkis, the two felt at the same time that something seemed to land on top of their heads. It happened to be directly above the two of them. The two hurriedly stepped back. At the same time, he looked up at the sky. At this moment, in the process of falling, Erha's body also began to change rapidly. It swelled first, and then split into 3 heads, and then the yellow massacre burst out from Erha's body, covering the whole body. Finally, split into 3 bodies directly in midair. Boom boom boom. 3 violent vibrations represented that all 3 Erha fell on the ground. Before Erha was kicked off, Lin Yu had already explained to him. Those who fight below can only eat those dark elves. Can't eat Thor and other earthlings. In this regard, Erha naturally obeyed Lin Yu's orders. As soon as it landed, 3 halves immediately surrounded the dark elf leader Malkis. Seeing this scene, Malekis couldn't help frowning. He had never seen such a monster. 1 can change to 3, and the size can also change. The most important thing is that Malekis can feel the terrifying energy in the 3 Erhas. Suddenly, Malekis' attention was all on the 3 Erhas. And at the moment, when Thor saw the 3 Erhas, his body took a few steps back again. Thor naturally knows Erha. I definitely know that this Erha is Lin Yu's pet. Now that Erha has appeared, then Lin Yu must be nearby. Thor couldn't help but look at the sky again. He could feel some unusual breeze. Explain, there is something on it. It seems that Lin Yu is on it. A hint of horror suddenly appeared on Thor's face. For Lin Yu, there is a deep fear in his heart. That man has never made a move in front of him. But I don't know why, Thor just feels terrible. Thor stepped back again, staring nervously at the surrounding situation. He was ready, beside his sleeves. He even put away his thoughts of revenge for Loki. On the battlefield, 3-2 fought with Malekis. The other side, Ancient One, who was watching the situation on the battlefield, suddenly frowned. Her gaze suddenly looked at a place not far behind her. There seemed to be a strange fluctuation. There seems to be some strange ripples in the sky. What is that? Ancient One's face gradually became serious. Then, she suddenly discovered that the green energy in her body seemed to start to gush out from the depths of her body. It's as if they are no longer hidden. Suddenly, a hint of green appeared on the skin of Ancient One. There was even a green bitter light in her eyes. After a few seconds, in Ancient One's horrified gaze, a huge green figure slowly appeared from that space ripple. Since the Battle of New York, the Fel magician Gul'dan has once again appeared on the Earth. But this time, he was not summoned by Lin Yu's computer. And it's more like coming here on the initiative. Just after landing on the ground, Gul'dan did not look at Ancient One in front of him. His gaze suddenly turned to the distant sky. Gul'dan's head slowly nodded, seeming to be slightly gesturing towards something. On the space carrier. Standing on the deck, Lin Yu also saw Gul'dan coming. When he saw Gul'dan look at him and nod his head slightly towards him, a strange feeling suddenly appeared in Lin Yu's heart. It seems that there is an inexplicable connection between himself and Gul'dan. It seems that his life is connected with himself. I only need a thought to make it fly away. Is this the ability to control the summoned object? Lin Yu was overjoyed in his heart. The last time Gul'dan came, Lin Yu felt a little scared himself. Although it is a bit embarrassing to be afraid of the things that his system summons. However, it is true that Gul'dan has put too much pressure on the people around him. But this time, Lin Yu felt completely different after seeing Gul'dan again. On Gul'dan, Lin Yu didn't feel any pressure at all, nor did he feel the fear before. Gul'dan has completely become his most loyal subordinate. Lin Yu gave a slight grin at the corner of his mouth, and then commanded directly to the bumblebee. Go, let's go over there and see. Lin Yu stretched out his hand and pointed to the place where Gul'dan descended. Lin Yu is not prepared to control what Gul'dan does. Since he can feel that he can control Gul'dan's life at any time, he can do whatever he wants. But compared to the battle between Erha and Malkis here, Lin Yu wanted to see what Gul'dan wanted to do with Ancient One more closely. Obviously, this time Gul'dan's purpose is Ancient One. Under the control of the Hornet, the space carrier flew towards the holy place in London. But at the moment's Ancient One, but he was totally in no mood to care about Lin Yu. There is no time to manage the battle between Malekis and Erha. When Gul'dan appeared, Ancient One felt a deep fear. It's almost like facing Dormammu in person. As a master of dimensions, Dormammu has endless power. Although Ancient One borrowed part of his power, when facing him personally, he still felt fear. But it's not the same as when facing Dormammu. When Ancient One saw Gul'dan, she would not feel the endless energy in Gul'dan. But on Gul'dan's body, there is an incomparable evil. The purest evil. Compared with dark energy, it is more pure. That kind of evil made Ancient One feel a deep fear. And what made her even more frightened was that when Gul'dan appeared, she had already felt the evil energy in her body. It seems that the appearance of Gul'dan detonated the evil energy that originally existed in his body. In other words, I have now been eroded by those green evil energies. You, what do you want to do? Ancient One stepped back slightly, looking at Gul'dan in horror. And at the moment, there was a strange smile on Gul'dan's ugly face. He raised his skeletal staff and walked forward 2 steps. Who are you and what are you going to do? Ancient One said in horror again. As the only supreme magician on Earth, she is very strong. But at the moment she even forgot to use the magic power she possessed. Just like an ordinary person, his face was full of horror. Ancient One is not actually a person who is afraid of powerful enemies. After all, even when facing Dormammu, she dared to fight each other. But she was most afraid of being corroded by those evil forces. This is what she fears most, and this thing seems to be happening. As Ancient One stepped back, he stretched out his hand and placed it in front of his eyes. She can feel that the green energy previously hidden in her body has now spread all over her body. The skin on my hand seems to be slightly greenish. At this moment, Gul'dan finally spoke. What he said turned out to be the purest English. I don't know if I learned it on the Earth, or I learned it from the dialogue between players in the game. In short, Gul'dan and Ancient One can communicate normally. Gul'dan grinned, revealing a mouthful of dirty, blackened animal teeth. Slowly said, My servant, I came to you after receiving your roar call. Gul'dan at the moment is like a god stick. The god stick of the cult. At the moment, Ancient One is still backing slowly. But the roof of the holy place in London is not large in size. She has no retreat. Facing Gul'dan's slow approach, her face finally showed a tyrannical look. She didn't even feel it, she was vaguely controlled by evil energy. If it used to be, Ancient One wouldn't have this kind of expression on its face even if it was faced with even more terrifying things. But now, under the influence of the evil energies in her body, her face became a bit sullen. In Ancient One's hands, her most proficient magic also appeared. But it's too late to think about it now. Because the magic in her hands is no longer the original color. Magic energy is golden yellow. But the magic displayed by Ancient One is green energy entwined in yellow. The evil energy in her body has been thoroughly integrated with the magical energy. And at the moment, Gul'dan finally stopped. He suddenly raised the skeleton staff in his hand, and then opened his arms. A gray light suddenly emerged from Ancient One's body and flew towards Gul'dan's body. Gul'dan's face instantly revealed a look of enjoyment. As for Ancient One, his face suddenly became pale. Even wrinkles began to appear on her face. Ancient One is full of fear, however, she couldn't do anything. At the moment, she seemed to be fixed in place, her body completely unable to move. Even the magic in her hand slowly dissipated. As Ancient One who has lived for hundreds of years, her research on life is second only to magic. She even borrowed Dormammu's energy to maintain her life. If nothing goes wrong, she can live forever. The body will not age. And at the moment, the energy gushing out of Ancient One is her vitality. After a few minutes, Gul'dan stopped getting vitality from Ancient One. At the moment Gul'dan seemed to look much younger. His face was radiant, but Ancient One looked a little old. Although he is not in his 70s or 80s, he looks much older than before. Her face is full of wrinkles. The vitality that Gul'dan absorbed was not only the vitality she got from Dormammu. There is also the source of her original vitality. So, she will become what she is now. You, what did you do? After Ancient One resumed action, he asked in horror again. She already felt her current state. I also saw the wrinkles on my hands. Gul'dan smiled slightly and sighed. It's a wonderful taste. I didn't expect to have such a huge life force on this low-level plane. Gul'dan also raised his hands, looked at the much younger skin, and became more excited. At this moment, didn't wait for Ancient One to say anything. Gul'dan had a new move. He suddenly raised his skeletal staff and pointed it at Ancient One's body. Said, since you have absorbed so much life energy, let's give you evil energy as a reward. Suddenly, huge green energy sprayed out from Gul'dan's skeleton staff. It turned into a green band of light and poured directly into Ancient One's body. This evil energy is tens of thousands of times stronger than the evil energy in Ancient One's body. Moment. Ancient One fell completely. She even opened her arms and closed her eyes, with a weird smile on her face, welcoming the influx of evil energy. After a whole few minutes, Gul'dan slowly stopped the transmission of fell energy. And at the moment, Ancient One finally opened his eyes slowly. 2 green rays of light burst out of her eyes. But, at the moment's Ancient One, all the green on the body has disappeared. The evil energy has completely become a part of her body. And, after fully integrating the fell energy, she was completely controlled by Gul'dan. Although ideologically, she can still have independent ideas. However, as long as Gul'dan wanted to control her body, she couldn't resist at all. Asterisk, who are you? Ancient One asked slowly again. Although she still has her own original thoughts. But under the influence of this huge evil energy, she was no longer as resistant as before. And with the passage of time, her thoughts will gradually be eroded by evil energy. Until the end, completely joined the fell camp. Gul'dan raised his head, looked at the space carrier floating above him in the sky, and slowly said, I control everything, under the seat of the great Lin Yu, leader of the Fell Legion, Gul'dan. After hearing what Gul'dan said, Ancient One also raised his head as he felt it. At the moment, above the sky, Lin Yu's space carrier is quietly suspended in midair. And Lin Yu, is quietly stretching out his head, looking at Gul'dan and Ancient One below. When Ancient One looked at Lin Yu with his green eyes, Lin Yu suddenly felt that there seemed to be a strange connection between himself and Ancient One. Ancient One quickly retracted his gaze. Gul'dan also looked at Ancient One in front of him again. At this moment, Gul'dan said again, go back. I hope that when I come next time, I can see that you have formed a huge Fell Legion on this planet. Gul'dan waved gently. And Ancient One, with a hint of hesitation on his face, and some solemn expressions, slowly walked down from the roof of the holy place in London. She didn't know why she obeyed the monster's orders. But, in her heart, an idea had already sprouted. Form a Fell Legion. Seems to be a good idea. Under Gul'dan's order, Ancient One walked back slowly. She didn't even make a move, and didn't pay attention to the battlefield on the other side, but quietly returned to the holy place in London. This is totally inconsistent with her character. It also completely does not meet the duties of his supreme magician. Ancient One felt uncomfortable in his heart, as if 2 villains were fighting in their heads. One black, one white. The white one said that you must restrain your desires, protect the earth, and drive away those invaders. The black one has only one idea, which is to use evil energy to make himself stronger. Finally, Ancient One still fell. Unexpectedly, he resisted Dormammu's temptation, but failed to resist the temptation of fell energy. But this cannot be blamed on Ancient One's poor willpower. After all, dark energy and fell energy are not at the same level in terms of tempting creatures to fall. Even in the plane of World of Warcraft, there are many very powerful human beings polluted by fell energy. The most famous one is probably Medivh Magician. If you compare Medivh and Ancient One, it seems that the two are somewhat similar. They were once the strongest combat power to protect mankind. However, they were all contaminated by evil energy. And both are very powerful, they are also magician. At the moment, after Ancient One left, on the roof of the holy place in London, only Gul'dan was left standing there quietly. However, he did not make any moves. He just raised his head and looked in the direction of Lin Yu in the sky. It seems that he is quietly waiting for Lin Yu's order. At this time, Lin Yu narrowed his eyes and slightly raised the corners of his mouth. Suddenly there was an idea in my mind. He had to test whether this Gul'dan could really obey his orders. This kind of evil and powerful guy, if you can't control it in your own hands, it will be in trouble. At the moment, Lin Yu jumped directly from the space carrier. Since I can control Gul'dan's life, there is nothing to be afraid of. Boom. Lin Yu landed directly above the holy place in London. A big hole was directly stepped on the roof of the holy place in London. Almost the entire roof collapsed. However, Ancient One seems to be doing something inside, and there is no magician outside in the holy place. And this time, the smoke dissipated. Lin Yu and Gul'dan finally met up close. The eyes are facing each other. Lin Yu looked calm. And Gul'dan, there seemed to be a trace of struggle in his eyes. Although he had already stated that he was Lin Yu's subordinate when he introduced himself to Ancient One before, when he really faced Lin Yu, he still had some hesitation and struggle. As a powerful fell warlock, in World of Warcraft, he also rules the existence of almost the entire orc race. This kind of identity makes him look a little arrogant. Although he is not an arrogant orc, but when he descended on the earth, he found that the life here was very weak. Therefore, it is really difficult for him to surrender to a life in such a weak world. But the existence of the system made him have to surrender. That is a kind of existence above any other rule. It is a force that directly affects his heart, and is even higher than the controllability of the mind scepter. Finally, Gul'dan still chose to surrender. The hesitation in his eyes only appeared for less than 2 seconds before slowly dissipating. All that is left is respect and surrender. Slowly, Gul'dan knelt down on one knee. In his original world, their orcs did not have this kind of etiquette. However, after arriving on the earth, he unknowingly used the way of expression of surrender on the earth. Fell warlock, Gul'dan, see my master. There was a buzzing sound in Gul'dan's mouth. It turned out to be quite authentic English. After hearing Gul'dan's voice and seeing Gul'dan's movements, Lin Yu finally let out a long sigh in his heart. Even Lin Yu himself felt a little weird. Gul'dan really surrendered to himself. And after the system is promoted to level 5, he can use the ability of space variation to summon Gul'dan at any time. This is equivalent to having a powerful thug who is always around. And Gul'dan is best at large-scale battles. CDAH can be almost invincible in group battles. At this time, Lin Yu asked slowly, Gul'dan, how many subordinates do you have now? Lin Yu just heard that Gul'dan and Ancient One were talking about the Fell Legion. Since Gul'dan is his own subordinate, wouldn't his subordinates also obey his own orders? Hearing Lin Yu's question, Gul'dan replied respectfully, return to my master, in my world, I have controlled the entire orc family, and the army of millions is always waiting for the command of the master. Hearing Gul'dan's answer, Lin Yu nodded slightly. Although it looks calm on the surface, however, my heart was happy. Gul'dan's words, doesn't it mean that he is now at the strongest time? The entire orc tribe was under his control. If you need it, you can even bring all the orcs over. At that time, the gods will block and kill the gods and Buddhas. Although Gul'dan said that the army of 1 million seems a bit exaggerated, there should be hundreds of thousands. An army of hundreds of thousands of orcs, if it really came to the earth, or to the world of Marvel, would definitely be a pretty terrifying force. It's cool to think about it. Well, I know, after you go back, you will continue to improve the strength of the Fell Legion, develop low-key, and when I need you, I will summon you. Lin Yu carried his hands on his back, showing a worldly high the look of a person. As a World of Warcraft player, Lin Yu knows that the Orcs clan's later life is not easy. Moreover, after many wars, the population of the orcs has also declined sharply. The meaning of Lin Yu's words is to let Gul'dan preserve the strength of the orcs. If you really use them, don't just have 2 or 3 big cats and kittens, then it's not interesting. Gul'dan said respectfully again. Yes, my master. Okay. Then you go back first. Lin Yu said with a wave afterwards. But after hearing Lin Yu's order, Gul'dan was suddenly taken aback. Then weakly said, Great master, I have no way to go back. If I want to open the dark door, I must kill tens of thousands of lives. Hearing Gul'dan's answer, Lin Yu suddenly showed a strange smile on his face. I really forgot about it. Okay, then I'll take you back. Lin Yu moved slightly and closed his eyes. A few seconds later, Gul'dan's figure slowly disappeared. At this point, Lin Yu finally understood the ability of this spatial variation in his system more clearly. Not only allow yourself to travel through the space at will, but also allow your subordinates or summoned objects to travel through the space at will. It's a magical skill. With this ability, it's like bringing all of your subordinates with you. Whoever wants to be summoned can be summoned. At the moment, it was during the time Lin Yu and Gul'dan were talking. On the other side of the battlefield, the battle between Malekith and Erha was also coming to an end. In the 9 realms, the Dark Elves are actually not very powerful. Even compared to giants of Jotunheim, it is slightly inferior. Their most powerful combat power is actually a cursed warrior made from too much fragments. Each of those cursed warriors is extremely powerful. Although there is no special means of attack, just a powerful physical body gives them a terrifying combat power. But those cursed warriors had already died in the war with Asgard a long time ago. The last cursed warrior was also controlled by Wanda, and finally died in the siege of the Asgard gods. Now, Malekiths can only fight alone. Those ordinary dark elves are nothing but cannon fodder. Fortunately, the body of Malekiths has integrated the ether, and it has not been instantly wiped out by Erha. But it's not far from being eaten by Erha. At this moment, Lin Yu walked from the ground to the edge of the battlefield. Thor, also watching quietly from the side. But seeing Lin Yu approaching him not far away, Thor's face immediately became a little strange. Lin Yu, the great god, finally appeared. Brother Thor, I won't make a move when I meet Roar. Aren't we all Avengers colleagues? Lin Yu smiled slightly and greeted Roar. Hearing Lin Yu's words, Thor suddenly felt a little embarrassed. If you have to count it, it is indeed a companion. But there is really no intersection between Thor and Lin Yu. There is not even any friendship at all, and for Lin Yu, who exudes a strange aura all over, Thor has always been a little scared. Although he had a powerful storm axe in his hand, it didn't bring him any sense of security. What do you want to do? Thor quietly took 2 steps back, watching Lin Yu warily. This makes Lin Yu feel a little speechless. Is he so scary? Simply, Lin Yu was too lazy to talk to him. He put his arms around his chest and turned to look on the battlefield. The battle between 3 Erha and Malekith, the leader of the Dark Elf, was really too simple. Although Malekith possesses ether, the main ability of ether is to control the universe back to darkness. In terms of combat effectiveness, there has been little increase for Malekith. Since Erha integrated the symbiote, its strength has become stronger. When Lin Yu looked at the battlefield, one of Malekith's arm was just bitten by an Erha. The powerful force instantly tore off an arm of Malekith. Immediately afterwards, 322 hectares, being the principle of taking advantage of his illness to kill his life, all began to become crazy. Even if it is hard to resist the attack of the ether, the damage is not great for the 3 dogs. Finally, just half a minute after Lin Yu looked at the battlefield, the 3 dogs all pounced on Malekith, the Dark Elf leader. 2 bit on his leg, 1 bit on his other arm. An expression of pain suddenly appeared on Malekith's face. He didn't expect it. I just slept for thousands of years. And on this originally the weakest earth, there is such a terrifying monster. Sizzle, one of Malekith's leg was bitten off. Immediately afterwards, the other leg and 1 arm were also bitten off by Erha's strong bite force. All the broken arms and legs entered Erha's stomach. Malekith at the moment, very miserable. There was also a look of despair on his face. At this moment, 32 hectares, slowly approaching Malekith's body again. Then, at the same time, he opened his mouth in the blood basin. Thor, who was standing next to Lin Yu, seemed to realize something suddenly, and hurriedly reached out his hand, wanting to say something. It seemed that he wanted to prevent Erha from eating Malkies. But he opened his mouth but said nothing. It seems that I dare not. Then, Thor quietly turned his head, took a look at Lin Yu, and then quietly took the outstretched hand back. His expression is a little weird. Thor actually wanted to say that Malekith still had ether on him. He wanted to bring the ether back to Asgard and keep it safe. But after thinking about it, I still didn't say anything. After all, taking back the ether in Lin Yu's hand is like pulling a tooth out of a tiger's mouth. Simply, Thor turned his head and left here. Since the ether did not come back, and Malekith was basically abolished, staying here would have no effect. Might as well go back and help my father build the palace. Asgard is now in urgent need of labor, on the battlefield. The dark elf leader Malekith looked desperate. He no longer had any illusions. The strength of these three Erhas is really too strong. In front of them, I was like a joker. Finally, the three Erhas opened their mouths at the same time and bit them on Malekith. After a bite, Malekith's body was divided into 3 parts and entered Erha's stomach. At this moment, Erha's body also began to slowly change. After a few seconds, it became the same again. And at the moment, in Lin Yu's mind, the system reminder finally sounded. Ding. Congratulations to the host for his in-depth participation in the core plot of the Marvel world. Malekith descends on the Earth and rewards 5 plot points. At 5 o'clock, the plot point was reached, and Lin Yu's face gradually showed a smile. In addition to the plot points previously obtained in Asgard, I now have 15 plot points in his body. This speed of harvesting plot points made Lin Yu very satisfied. After devouring Malekith, Erha was also quite excited. It seems to be still aftertaste the taste just now. It seems that I have never eaten something so delicious. It turned its head, looked in the direction of Lin Yu, and then ran over. But when Lin Yu saw Erha's appearance, he was taken aback. Erha's eyes changed color unexpectedly. Without the distinction between whites of eyes and eyeballs, everything turned dark red. It's just like the color of ether. Lin Yu was startled, and suddenly thought of the reason. Just now Thor reached out his hand to stop Erha from eating Malekith, too. In Malekith's body, there is still ether, but he was completely eaten by Erha. In other words, now, the ether actually entered Erha's body. This led to Erha's eyes all turned dark red. It's a bad thing, Lin Yu secretly said. Lin Yu, who is familiar with Marvel plots, also knows ether. That thing was made by the Dark Elves with Reality Gem. The power is very powerful. And it will also absorb the vitality of the host. Although I don't know if Erha eats the ether, it counts as being possessed by the ether. But judging from the color of Erha's current eyes, it is indeed a bit uncomfortable. Bumblebee. Lin Yu whispered roar in the earphones. Immediately afterwards, the figure of the Hornet flew down from the space carrier. Then Lin Yu took Erha and returned to the space carrier. Lin Yu decided to study the current state of Erha. Don't let ether suck up your most loyal dog. Soon, Lin Yu and Erha returned to the space carrier. But Erha, who didn't feel much at first, suddenly became a little strange. It is not as cheerful as usual. As if he had eaten his stomach, he was lying on the ground, unwilling to move. Some Jong Mo looked depressed. Even Erha started to retching a little. Seeing this scene, both Wanda and Sharon also ran over, looking at Erha worriedly. Even Bumblebee is a little sad. Erha, what's the matter with you? Wanda asked worriedly, stroking Erha's hair. Although recently, when I learned that Erha cannibalism, Wanda and Sharon were a little apart from Erha. But in their hearts, they are still very concerned about Erha. Sharon also squatted down at this time, looking at Erha worriedly. At this moment, Sharon also asked, what did it eat? Why is it so uncomfortable? Seeing how worried the two were, Lin Yu was about to help Erha explain. After all, Erha has been with himself for so many years, without credit and hard work. But I didn't wait for Lin Yu to say anything. Bumblebee spoke first. He was kind. But some straight men. Erha just ate an alien, it seems to have eaten his stomach. Heard this. The two women whose eyes were full of worries suddenly jumped from the ground. The worried color on his face disappeared immediately. Instead, there was a look of disgust. Aliens are also humans. How can this dog not change the habit of cannibalism? Wanda directly used her own crimson power to control the water in the swimming pool and flew up. He reached into the water and rubbed the hands that he had just touched Erha. So disgusting. I actually touched Erha's body just now. I don't know if human flesh is stuck on it. Sharon saw Wanda's operation and hurriedly stretched out her hand to wash. Seeing the behavior of the two women, Lin Yu was speechless for a while. It's really like turning a book. Feeling that there is no touch of a small hand on his body, Erha seems to have become aggrieved. It did not resent the two women. Instead, he raised his head and looked at the bumblebee who hadn't found his mistake, with a bit of resentment in his eyes. Finally, after Erha had a dry cough, I don't know how many times, it suddenly spit out something in its mouth. It's black and autumn. It's only slightly larger than a fingernail cap. But it exudes a trace of dark red light. Seeing this thing, Lin Yu was shocked. Unexpectedly, Erha actually spit it out. And not yet ether. Instead, he spit out the reality gem directly. This is a bit awesome. Lin Yu looked at the reality gem on the ground and wanted to reach out to take it, but he still held back. Each of the 6 infinite gems is very powerful. One of the most mysterious is probably the reality gem. It can arbitrarily modify all the rules in the world and turn all ideas into reality. But Lin Yu also knows, if you use it rashly, you will definitely suffer a big backlash. Even Thanos does not dare to use reality gem alone. Reality gem can only be used after passing Infinity Gauntlet and having other gems. But at the moment, when the bumblebee saw the reality gem, it seemed to have discovered something good, and squatted on the ground hurriedly, observing it herself. In his eyes, there was also a blue light, which was constantly scanning on the reality gem. Lin Yu, holding Erha, took 2 steps quietly. Erha's situation is much better now than before. It seems that after spitting out the reality gem, its body has also recovered. After a few minutes, Bumblebee finally finished scanning the seedlings. He raised his head and looked at Lin Yu. Then he said, "Boss, this thing has very powerful energy, and it is almost endless, a bit like the energy core of our Autobots. No, even stronger and more stable than our energy core." Hearing what Bumblebee said, Lin Yu asked suspiciously, "You mean, you can use this thing?" The Hornet nodded. "Looks very solemn." This reality gem seemed to give him a great shock. Lin Yu asked again, "Is this useful for you? If it is useful, you can use it at will." For Bumblebee, Lin Yu naturally has unconditional trust. But Bumblebee shook his head and said, "Boss, this thing is not for me, but for you." "Oh." Lin Yu was slightly taken aback. The Hornet continued, "With this energy source, I can use it to create a real army of Autobots, an endless army of Autobots." Lin Yu finally changed his face when he heard the words of Bumblebee. "Autobot army? If you really have mastered the Autobot army, isn't this Marvel world going sideways? Just now, I just learned that I have the fighting power of an entire orc race. And now, there is another army of Autobots. This. Orcs represent a powerful combat power. The Autobots are advanced technological means. By the time, I am afraid that my goal will also be changed. What still do you want to live a stable life? It's better to go directly to the stars and the sea." Definitely Lin Yu is not the kind of person who likes to fight everywhere. But like and whether or not they are 2 different things. Even if you don't like it, there is nothing wrong with having originally. And at that time, if the army of Thanos arrives, the Autobots on the left and the orcs on the right will be so handsome. Okay, let's take care of this matter. Please feel free to find me if you need it. When the Autobot army is built, you will be the leader of all Autobots. Lin Yu gave the Hornet another strong dose. Hear Lin Yu's arrangement. There was also a hint of excitement on Bumblebee's mechanical face. Who doesn't want to be the leader? And since becoming Lin Yu's subordinate, he has always felt that his status is not as good as a dog. Lin Yu always takes the dog with him in everything, which makes him very envious. It's good now. With such a good opportunity in front of her, Bumblebee decided to seize it. Then he directly reached out and picked up the reality gem. Immediately afterwards, there was a sudden change in his chest except for a small hole. The Hornet didn't hesitation, and directly hugged the reality gem from the hole. Suddenly, Bumblebee's body trembled violently. Suddenly, dark red lines appeared on his body, which spread to his entire body like a tattoo. Immediately afterwards, the body of the Bumblebee also began to change exaggeratedly. The body, which was originally full of science fiction, began to become more science fiction. Countless small details have become more perfect. The styling has also become more handsome. At the same time, The material of his body is also stronger, and the weight has become heavier. This change lasted for about 5 minutes, till the end. The Hornet has changed completely. At this moment, Lin Yu also received a prompt from the system. Ding. The mutant bumblebee has been transformed by the reality gem, and its strength has changed. The mutant level has been promoted from level 3 to level 5. It increases various physical qualities and increases the ability that gives life to other machines. Hearing this system prompt, Lin Yu was quite excited. Bumblebee has suddenly become a mutant with a higher level than Erha. You know, Erha is so powerful now, it is only a 4th level mutant. At the moment, the Hornet was even at the same level as Gul'dan. At the moment, just when Lin Yu received the system prompt, the Hornet also started shapeshifting again. He became an Autobot again. But the Hornet at this time is no longer Camaro. He turned into a red sports car, so handsome. This sports car turned into a Hornet is obviously very valuable. Only, Lin Yu has never cared much about this kind of things. Therefore, he has no idea what the car is called now. But before Lin Yu asked Bumblebee, Wanda and Sharon on the side rushed over. Their eyes were full of surprises. Wanda and Sharon even ran directly to Bumblebee's side, ignoring Bumblebee's idea of a straight steel man, and stroking them directly on the car body. Lin Yu looked speechless for a while. When Bumblebee was still Camaro, the two women didn't see much reaction. How come it suddenly becomes like this now? Seeing money is really open. Lin Yu said disdainfully. You two, don't be too exaggerated. Isn't it just a sports car? What's so beautiful? At this moment, Wanda turned his head and gave Lin Yu a look. Someone who hated iron and steel said, Brother, you are so ignorant. Do you know what kind of car this is? Lin Yu was taken aback for a moment. What car? Sports car. Seeing Lin Yu's expression, Wanda knew that his brother didn't know anything at all. Sports cars are also divided into high and low quality. Wanda said silently, This is Koenigsegg. K what? Lin Yu asked. Wanda was even more speechless. I didn't bother to say the name anymore, and directly stated the price. Brother, you are so embarrassed. The price of this car is at least $100 million. Huh? Lin Yu was shocked. $100 million? Such a little thing is worth 100 million. Joke. How much is my own space carrier? Not right, the space carrier did not spend money. However, such a small car is worth 100 million? Lin Yu couldn't help but walked forward 2 steps, stretched out his hand, and gently stroked the body of the bumblebee. But at this moment, Wanda leaned in suddenly. Then he whispered in Lin Yu's ear. Brother, let's sell this car, it's 100 million yuan, it's too much money, I feel excited when I think about it. Hearing this, Lin Yu was so frightened that he took 2 steps back. Sell? Joke. This is not a real sports car. Although it runs faster than a sports car. But he is a bumblebee, and he is a bumblebee that integrates reality gem. With it, it is even possible to form an Autobot army. Go and play, I can't sell him if I sell it, Lin Yu said with an ugly face. At the moment, Kamar Taj, Ancient One has passed the portal in the holy place in London and returned to Kamar Taj with his disciples. The Dark Elves have come to an end, but after Ancient One returned to Kamar Taj, it did not return to the mirror space again. Instead, he called his core disciples to the front. Among them, Mordu is included. On Kamar Taj Square, Ancient One stood quietly in front. Below are a dozen of her core disciples, at the moment. These disciples are a little confused. I don't know why my teacher asked them to gather here. And this time, Ancient One closed his eyes tightly and seemed to be thinking about something quietly. After a few minutes, Ancient One finally opened his eyes slowly. A green light flashed in her eyes, just like the color of Eye of Agamotto. This makes these disciples feel quite surprised. Did the Supreme Magician master the ability of Eye of Agamotto? But Mordu, who was standing in front of the disciples, suddenly frowned. In the past, Gu has been in the mirror space all the time, and it was he who gave Ancient One food every day. And Ancient One also once told him about the green energy in the body. At that time, Ancient One's description said that the green energy seemed evil. But in the current situation, it seems that Ancient One has completely integrated that green energy. Mordo knew that although the green in Ancient One's eyes looked a lot like Eye of Agamotto, it was definitely not the power of Eye of Agamotto. Eye of Agamotto is actually Time Gem. Even if the Supreme Magician has the power to reach the sky, it is impossible to integrate the power of time gem. Teacher? Mo Du suddenly stepped forward, looking at Ancient One with some worry. But Ancient One suddenly stretched out his hand, preventing Mordo from continuing to speak. Then she smiled slightly and said, I used the power of Eye of Agamotto to foresee a terrible disaster, which is about to come to the entire universe. Life on the Earth is not immune. With our originally magical power, I am afraid that this disaster cannot be prevented at all, so I decided to teach you a new kind of power. The power of this kind of power is completely unmatched by magical power. You all relax your spirits and let me teach you how to use this power. Ancient One is like a god in Kamar Taj. All the disciples will not defy her orders. Except for Mordu. Mordor is a very smart guy. If it weren't for Doctor Strange's appearance later, he might even inherit the name of Supreme Magician. At this moment, Modu hurriedly said, Teacher, didn't you say that that power is evil? Have you been eroded by that evil power? Mordo was very anxious. Behind him stood all the elite disciples of Kamar Taj. If something goes wrong, then the entire Kamar Taj will fall. But just after Mordor asked this question, an evil smile suddenly appeared on Ancient One's face. Then, in the case that Mordor didn't react at all, she shot suddenly. A green light spurted from her hand and directly rushed into Mordu's body. Fell energy finally appeared in Kamar Taj, immediately afterwards. Before the other disciples had any reaction, a dozen green rays appeared on Ancient One's body at the same time, rushing to every core disciple. The huge fell energy turned the entire courtyard into green. 10 seconds later, the green light gradually dissipated. And these dozen or so disciples also showed a touch of green in their eyes. Even Mordor was not immune. They have been corroded by evil energy. From now on, he can only obey the control of evil energy. A dozen people looked at each other and smiled, and they all seemed to feel the terrifying power in their bodies. Mordu finally returned to the team slowly, and there was no doubt on his face. Instead, there was a strange smile. At this moment, standing at the forefront, Ancient One smiled slightly and said, Well, let's invite all the magicians, all the same people, to our team. Ancient One waved gently, and a dozen core disciples scattered away. Some went to the 3 holy places, and some went to all corners of Kamar Taj. They want to turn the entire magician team into their true companions. Lin Yu doesn't know what happened to Kamar Taj, although he saw Gul'dan pull Ancient One into his camp with his own eyes. But Lin Yu did not expect that Ancient One would use fell energy to erode the entire Kamar Taj so quickly. The work efficiency is so fast, and at the moment, on the space carrier, Lin Yu is communicating with Hornet to turn the space carrier into shape-shifting King Kong. The size of the space carrier is really big and outrageous. Even the Hornet is not completely sure. You mean, you can turn this space carrier into a shape-shifting King Kong? Lin Yu asked the Hornet in surprise. And at the moment, the Hornet, who had become an Autobot, nodded slowly. At the moment, there is no more yellow on his body. The shape of the body has also undergone great changes. But Lin Yu is used to calling him Bumblebee, and Su Xing doesn't bother to change his name. Just now, the Hornet suddenly said that it could turn the space carrier into the shape-shifting King Kong, but Lin Yu was taken aback. Lin Yu thought that only those small machines could become shape-shifting diamonds. After all, in the shape-shifting King Kong movie, those Autobots are not so bulky. The largest one, the shape-shifting King Kong, which is a combination of several vehicles, is estimated to be several times smaller than the space carrier. Can you control its shape after shape-shifting? Lin Yu asked suspiciously. Bumblebee shook his head and said, The shape of any Autobot after shape-shifting is uncertain. It depends on his own thoughts. Lin Yu actually has hesitation. This space carrier, for him and the 2 women, is actually a family-like existence. They don't go back to the grocery store now. In case the space carrier is no longer comfortable after shape-shifting, that would be bad. And if the water in your swimming pool is lost after shape-shifting, it will be even more uncomfortable. After thinking about it, Lin Yu finally didn't let the Hornet turn the space carrier into the shape-shifting King Kong. But in the future, if you want the space carrier to become a shape-shifting King Kong, you can do it at any time. After all, after owning the reality gem, the ability of the Hornet will not disappear. Then wait until later. After Wanda and Sharon have enjoyed enough of this big hot spring, Lin Yu turned his head, looked at the 2 women bathing in the hot spring, and said with a wry smile. The biggest question is whether the 2 women are willing or not. After all, the hot spring has almost become their bed now. In the Marvel world, everything is still going on in an orderly manner. Lin Yu's participation only slightly changed the plot. But some things happened and were not affected. Especially in the universe beyond the Earth, Lin Yu's influence is minimal. In this period, Star-Lord Peter Quill finally gathered his teammates and obtained the Gem of Strength together. And defeated Ronan the Accuser. And Thanos is also continuing his own cosmic massacre in the depths of the universe. On the Earth, Avengers is also not idle. And some differences from the original plot are: Nick Fury did not feign death like before, because he was by Lin Yu's side when he was attacked. He didn't even see the enemies of Hydra. All the enemies were swallowed by Airha. With the help of Nick Fury, Avengers also began an action to eliminate the remnants of Hydra. Just a few days after the Dark Elf incident passed, with Tony's help, S.H.I.E.L.D. finally found a very secret Hydra stronghold. These Hydra, although there is no leader Pierce, they are still quite stubborn. A few days later, the Avengers gathered together again. Even Thor came to the scene. Thor, the Captain of the United States Steve, Iron Man Tony Stark, Dr. Hulk Banner, Black Widow Natasha Romanoff, Hawkeye Barton, all stood quietly in the brand new conference room of S.H.I.E.L.D. At the front is Nick Fury, at the moment. Except for Lin Yu, the Avengers' honorary consultant, everyone else has arrived. At this moment, Thor couldn't help it for the first time, holding up his huge storm axe, and said, "Let's talk. Hydra's stronghold is there, we will go and destroy them now." His militant character has not changed at all. Tony nodded too. Since the Killian incident, his research on the battle armor seems to have broken through a new level. Although he doesn't wear so many armors, he has developed a steel legion that is completely controlled by Jarvis. The Iron Army is very powerful, and there is no need to worry about your own safety issues when fighting. Coupled with Jarvis's ultra-high computing power, these steel armies will surely be the backbone of protecting the Earth in the future. But Nick Fury, standing at the forefront, was a little hesitation. Forget those previous battles. This time, this Hydra base is a bit different. According to the news, the one who controls this secret stronghold is Baron Stoke, who is known as the villain of Hydra. And in this secret stronghold, it is very likely that there are many powerful weapons. Nick Fury was wondering whether he should also call Consultant Lin. Although Consultant Lin is sometimes scary, at least he is not strong enough. Nick Fury glanced around. Although the members of these Avengers are very strong, they are still a little different from Consultant Lin. Do not. The gap is not generally large. Let's discuss it first. I'll go out and make a call first. Nick Fury finished speaking and turned and walked out of the conference room. In the conference room, Thor and Thor's roar screamed again. Nick Fury, who walked out of the conference room, took out the phone. After a little hesitation, he dialed Lin Yu's number. Immediately afterwards, Lin Yu's lazy voice came through the phone. "Hey, why is Chief Fury calling me when he is free? Is there anything good?" Nick Fury smiled wryly, and then said, "Consultant Lin, Avengers recently had an event. You can go to Sokovia in Eastern Europe. I wonder if you have time?" On the space carrier, Lin Yu smiled slightly and said, "Don't talk nonsense, I'm busy with anything you want to do with me." Lin Yu, lying in the pool, basking in the sun, said. Activity fart. Lin Yu knows a lot about Nick Fury, an old fox. In addition, Lin Yu is not a person who likes to slander. Hearing Lin Yu's words, Nick Fury simply stated his purpose directly. "Counselor Lin, there is a Hydra base on Sokovia, and there seems to be a lot of Chitauri technology remaining from the Battle of New York. I don't know you. Do you have time to go with other Avengers team members?" Nick Fury is actually a little bit ambitious in his heart. Lin Yu, who wants to let him take action, will pay a great price every time. Last time, I paid for a space carrier, but among the Avengers, Lin Yu is still the strongest. If Lin Yu does not participate, Nick Fury is really worried about being run away by Baron Shirt. That is the last boss of Hydra. Get rid of him, Hydra will no longer have any threats. But in the swimming pool, after hearing Nick Fury's words, Lin Yu suddenly lost his voice. He frowned slightly, his memory opened like a tide. When first heard the name Sokovia, Lin Yu just felt a little familiar. However, he didn't care too much. However, when he heard that there was Hydra's secret base, Lin Yu suddenly realized. This seems to be the first scene in Avengers 2. That Hydra base for researching spiritual scepters. The most important is, in the movie, there are not only Hydra and the Soul Scepter in that base. There are two more people, Wanda and Quicksilver. Lin Yu turned his head and looked at Wanda, who was still lying in the pool with his eyes closed, and made a decision in his heart. After I came into this world, it seemed to have an impact on many things in Marvel. And Wanda, don't know why he appeared in the orphanage in New York. But Wanda's brother has never appeared. In that case, I must consider Wanda to see what is going on there now. Is Quicksilver still in the secret base paper of Hydra? After all, Quicksilver is also his brother-in-law. No. Own brother, in other words, Quicksilver was only born 12 minutes earlier than Wanda. Calculating this way, it is indeed 2 years younger than Lin Yu. Outside the meeting room of S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, Nick Fury nervously held the phone in his hand, waiting for Lin Yu's reply. He suddenly regretted it. Perhaps, I shouldn't call Lin Yu to come with me. It is one thing whether he agrees or not. Even if he agrees, I am afraid that he will have to pay a high price. And what else in S.H.I.E.L.D. can be appreciated by Lin Yu? It seems to be gone. Apart from this group of Avengers, S.H.I.E.L.D. is really nothing good. The strongest space carrier has become Lin Yu's swimming pool. Is there anything else worthy of Lin Yu's blackmail? Blackmail? Oh no, it's an exaggeration to think so. But it feels no different from blackmail. On the space carrier, Lin Yu frowned slightly, as if thinking about something. It was an incredible thing to appear in the Marvel world by myself. And Wanda's appearance in the orphanage in New York is also a magical thing. So, Wanda's brother, that Quicksilver Pietro, who was born 12 minutes earlier than Wanda, will he still be in this secret base of Hydra? Lin Yu was puzzled, but go must go. After all, if Pietro did exist, he might still be Wanda's brother. With this relationship, Lin Yu cannot stand idly by. At this moment, Lin Yu said faintly on the phone, "Good, when will you leave? Send me the location of the secret base." On the other side of the phone, Nick Fury suddenly heard a puzzled voice. He didn't expect Lin Yu to agree so happy. This is not like Lin Yu's style of doing things. But Nick Fury still happily agreed to Lin Yu. And after hanging up the phone, he quickly sent the departure time and the coordinate location of the target to Lin Yu's mobile phone. On the space carrier, Lin Yu stood on the deck and looked at Wanda, who was playing with Sharon in the pool. After thinking about it, Lin Yu finally didn't tell Wanda the news. Lin Yu decided, let's explore the reality first. If Pilot really exists, it's not too late to find another chance to tell Wanda. Lin Yu and Wanda have lived together in the orphanage for so many years, and he knows Wanda's inner thoughts best. If there is an elder brother alive, she will be very happy. But if it is false news, then Wanda will be sad. In that case, let's go and see for yourself. Wanda, Sharon, let me go out. Lin Yu shouted casually. However, the two women just responded casually and went to play each. Lin Yu gave a wry smile, then walked into the body of the bumblebee. With a beckon, Erha also got into the bumblebee from Lin Yu's feet. How can you not bring Erha when you go out to play? After a roar, the hornet instantly took Lin Yu out of the space carrier. After using Reality Gem as an energy core, the power of Bumblebee is countless times stronger than before. Its flight speed in the sky is also extremely fast. It only took less than 10 minutes to arrive at Avengers headquarters. This headquarters was newly constructed some time ago. After all, the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters had collapsed last time. But the newly built S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters looks larger and full of technological sense. Bumblebee slowly stopped in front of the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters building. Opening the car door, Lin Yu and Erha walked out of the Hornet. At the moment, Nick Fury had already hired Roar with the staff on duty in front of S.H.I.E.L.D. Seeing Lin Yu appearing, the two door guards hurriedly let go respectfully. Lin Yu took Erha and came to the door of the meeting room. With a light push, he walked directly in. At the moment, in the conference room, apart from Nick Fury, everyone else did not know that Lin Yu was involved in this mission. Iron Man Tony Stark is also arguing with Thor about how to attack the secret base of Hydra. Two of them, neither of them accepts each other. When the door of the meeting room was pushed open, the people in the room saw Lin Yu's figure at the same time. Suddenly, the whole meeting room was quiet. Even Thor and Tony, who had been arguing, were taken aback. Tony even pointed at Lin Yu and said weakly, "You, how come you came here?" Lin Yu smiled slightly. Said, "I am also a member of Avengers, why can't I come?" Lin Yu's words choked Tony too hard. Indeed, Lin Yu can be considered a member of Avengers. It's just an honorary consultant. Lin Yu looked around. All the Avengers couldn't help but lower their heads, seemingly afraid to look into Lin Yu's eyes. They are very familiar with Lin Yu. Especially Natasha Romanoff and the Captain of the United States, who were in contact with Lin Yu for the first time, didn't feel anything at first. However, later, when they gradually began to get rid of the control of the lucky cat, they realized that they were completely controlled by their thoughts by Lin Yu's side. Unconsciously. Even more terrifying than the control of the mind scepter. At the same time, they all realized Lin Yu's weirdness. At this moment, it was Nick Fury who came out to round the field. As the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., he must stand up at this time. After all, Lin Yu was also called by him. Nick Fury smiled wryly and said, "In order to ensure the smooth completion of this mission, I called Consultant Lin." Immediately afterwards, Nick Fury said again, "Then continue to discuss how to ensure that Baron Shirt will not be allowed to run away." But, after Nick Fury's voice fell, everyone did not discuss it again. Even Thor became silent. In front of Lin Yu, he did not dare to speak. He knows Lin Yu's weirdness better than others. Because he even met Lin Yu in Asgard's own mother's room. And the way Lin Yu left is even more unseen. He could not pass Bifrost, and he disappeared suddenly without seeing the space gem. It's almost like Ghost. At this moment, seeing that everyone didn't have any ideas, Nick Fury said to Lin Yu, "Counselor Lin, why don't you tell me, what should we do in this operation?" Lin Yu smiled slightly, looked at the Avengers again, and then said, "Okay, since I'll make arrangements, then I'll make arrangements. You all surround the secret base outside, don't let anyone run away, I'll go in and get rid of them all." That's it?" Nick Fury asked in a daze. All the Avengers present were stunned. "It's that simple. What kind of action plan is this? Just now, my group of people have discussed and argued for a long time, but they have not determined a good course of action. You want everyone to fight and surround yourself? Go to this base alone? Let's go, Lin Yu said directly. Everyone is a little confused. At the same time he looked at Nick Fury. I want Nick Fury to come out and explain the situation. But, at this moment, Lin Yu has pushed open the door of the meeting room and walked out. Nick Fury gave a wry smile and hurriedly followed. After a few minutes, Lin Yu and others, led by Nick Fury, came to the apron of S.H.I.E.L.D. On the tarmac, at the moment was quietly listening to 7 or 8 planes. This kind of aircraft is unique to S.H.I.E.L.D. Has a very powerful firepower system, but also quite flexible. Costly. When seeing these planes, Lin Yu's eyes suddenly lit up. He thought of a good idea. His own space carrier has no plans to turn him into a shape-shifting King Kong for the time being. But S.H.I.E.L.D. seems to have a lot of planes. Standing in front of a dozen planes. Just when Nick Fury and the Avengers were about to embark on one of the planes, Lin Yu reached out and stopped them. Then, Lin Yu smiled slightly and said, "Wait a moment, your plane is too slow. I will ask my car to help you remodel it." Lin Yu already had a wonderful attention in his heart. These planes are too wasteful to be placed on the apron of S.H.I.E.L.D. Not as good as. Let the Bumblebee turn them all into the heart-changing King Kong. After becoming shape-shifting King Kong, they will completely obey the Bumblebees that turn them into shape-shifting King Kong. By the time, they have a sense of autonomy. Go wherever you want. Even Nick Fury couldn't stop it. Hearing Lin Yu's words, everyone was a little confused. Even the industrial genius Tony Stark was puzzled. Is this plane too slow? Joke. These aircraft of S.H.I.E.L.D. were all developed with the help of our own. The cost of each one has reached hundreds of millions of dollars. The flight speed of these airplanes, let alone talk about it. How could it not fly fast? And there is another meaning in Lin Yu's words. Let your own car, to transform the plane. Why does it sound so strange? Can cars be transformed into airplanes? Although Tony had seen Lin Yu's car with his own eyes, he didn't think there was anything else that could be modified for this plane. Under his personal design, everything about this aircraft has been perfect. Unless replace energy for this plane, however, this is impossible. If you want to change the energy, you must replace all the power equipment. Not that simple. Tony looked at Lin Yu's eyes, and there seemed to be a little sly. He wants to see if Lin Yu will make a fool of himself. At this moment, Bumblebee finally came to the scene. His domineering figure immediately caused the Avengers to startle roar. The dark red and black body complemented each other, Coupled with the stripes that exude red light, it is extremely handsome. But this is nothing. When the bumblebee transformed in front of everyone, it caused a shock of roar. Even Thor, the well-informed Prince Asgard, has never seen such a technological and beautiful transformation. Tony Stark's eyes straightened even more. He has studied the video of the first time he saw the Hornet for countless times. His steel battlesuit even draws on the look of a lot of bumblebees. But now it seems that this Autobot has become more powerful. The shape is also more handsome. It made Tony Stark look straight. But this is nothing. When the Hornet became an Autobot, slowly came to an airplane in front of them, and stretched out a hand and placed it on the fuselage of the airplane. Everyone was stunned. Completely stunned. I saw that a dark red light suddenly flowed from the body of the bumblebee along his arm and into the chicken of the plane. Immediately afterwards, the plane suddenly changed horribly. It actually moved on its own. Then, accompanied by a crackling sound, the plane was actually shapeshifting. Right. It's shapeshifting. The same as the shapeshifting of the Hornet just now. From an airplane, shapeshifting became a huge amount of robot. This robot, with 2 huge amounts of wings on its back, is 4 or 5 times the size of a bumblebee, and stands like a giant. The most alarming thing is, it still talks. In the horrified and surprised eyes of everyone, the plane that turned into a robot slowly lowered its head and buzzed at the Hornet. "My master, Megatron is reporting to you." Heard the name. Lin Yu was also stunned. Megatron? Lin Yu's heart was filled with a silly sound. This name is too domineering. After looking at the plane that had just become a shapeshifting King Kong, Lin Yu also suddenly felt a familiar feeling. It seems to look a bit like Megatron, at the moment. All the Avengers and Nick Fury were a little bit speechless in shock. They have been stunned by the technological means in front of them that are beyond the Marvel world. And Lin Yu. While everyone was looking at the plane that had just become the shapeshifting King Kong, they hurriedly winked at the Hornet. Although bumblebees are straight men, they still know very well about their owner's urination. Quietly, he came to the front of another plane. Then, stretched out his hand. After a few minutes, on the shield tarmac, 8 huge amounts of shapeshifting King Kong, standing there quietly, like a shapeshifting King Kong army under review. And the direction they are facing is exactly where the Hornet is. At the moment, there was no doubt on everyone's face. Original. This is the so-called transformation. This special meow is called transformation. This completely gave them a new life. Counselor Lin, Nick Fury wanted to say something. But it didn't say it. In fact, he wanted to ask, after these planes became shape-shifting King Kong, they were still not the property of S.H.I.E.L.D. However, he didn't know how to speak. In other words, he already knows the ending. He already regretted it a bit. The price of asking Lin Yu to shoot is always that big. These planes are obviously already owned by Lin Yu's car, and they all have autonomous consciousness. Could they still belong to S.H.I.E.L.D.? The answer is obvious. Nick Fury wants to cry without tears. But Lin Yu is not the kind of person who likes to do things absolutely. From the bottom of my heart, Nick Fury is still good. I didn't say anything to Lin Yu. So, Lin Yu heard Nick Fury's hesitation, then looked at his face again, and walked forward gently 2 steps. Came to Nick Fury's side. He stretched out a hand and slowly patted Nick Fury on the shoulder. Said, "Well, let me leave you a plane. After all, if we are friends, I will lose a little bit." Hearing Lin Yu's words, Nick Fury showed a wry smile again on his face. Lin Yu frowned slightly. Said, "Don't underestimate this aircraft. After it becomes the shapeshifting King Kong, its role is definitely stronger than all the aircrafts you have before combined." Lin Yu's words are the truth. After the transformation of the Hornet, the energy of these aircraft became the energy of the reality gem. Moreover, they have a lot of technological means of shapeshifting King Kong. Even if there is only one, Nick Fury is definitely making a lot of money. However, he still doesn't know much about these shapeshifting diamonds for the time being. Nick Fury finally nodded. He felt that leaving one was at least better than being taken away. At this moment, Lin Yu gave the bumblebee softly. Then, all the Hornets turned into the form of airplanes. "Let's take this one." Lin Yu looked at the shapeshifting King Kong called Megatron and said with a smile. Just when Bumblebee turned these planes into shapeshifting King Kong, he had already set Lin Yu's highest authority in the consciousness of all shapeshifting King Kong. At this moment, after hearing what Lin Yu said, Megatron in front of him slowly opened his rear hatch. Lin Yu took the lead and walked in first. When Lin Yu walked into the plane with all the Avengers and Nick Fury, Nick Fury realized that what Lin Yu said this time he suffered a little loss seems to be true. Inside this plane, the look completely changed. The cabin used to be no different from other airplanes, but now, dark red stripes are everywhere, just like the future fighter plane, full of science fiction. And the most important thing is that the fighter plane has no cockpit. Only the passenger compartment. It seems that it does not need people to drive at all. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in the cabin. "Master, Megatron is at your service, please give your order." Lin Yu was very satisfied with the shape of the cabin, nodded slightly, and said, "Take off, go to Sokovia, I will tell you the specific coordinates soon." After Lin Yu gave the order, the plane took off directly on the spot. The cabin, which was supposed to be loud, became extremely quiet, as comfortable as a car. This time, Nick Fury finally asked weakly, "Is this thing not controlled by humans?" In fact, airplanes and cars now have autopilot functions. But in actual use, people still need to control it. Because autonomous driving technology is not perfect. And this plane, obviously it is impossible to need people to control it. Because there is not even a cockpit. Hearing Nick Fury's words, Lin Yu smiled slightly and said, "This is not an ordinary airplane. He is originally a robot that surpasses the Earth's technology. Its IQ is higher than that of ordinary humans. Naturally, there is no need for a pilot. The pilot only it will affect his performance." In order for Nick Fury to be able to understand, Lin Yu used the term robot. Actually, it is shape-shifting King Kong. Nick Fury nodded slowly, indicating that he understood. Later, Lin Yu asked Nick Fury to tell Megatron the coordinates of the Hydra's secret base. The plane was extremely fast, almost 3 times faster than before, and quickly flew towards Sokovia. At the same time, Sokovia, Hydra's secret base castle, known as the #1 villain of Hydra, Baron Schurter, is chatting with his men in the base. This base has existed a long time ago. Moreover, in the entire Hydra organization, it belongs to the most secret base. The main function of this base is to research powerful weapons for Hydra. And at the moment, scientists at Hydra are studying Loki's mind scepter. Moreover, they have already developed a lot of magical effects with this psychic scepter. In a room next to Kurt, a man with silver hair was quietly looking at the scenery outside. He is the Quicksilver with the help of the spiritual scepter to master his own speed ability more perfectly. But what is different from the movie? At the moment Quicksilver's side, but his younger sister Wanda was nowhere to be seen. Moreover, Wanda didn't even know that there was such a brother. The two seemed to have separated when they were very young. In addition to helping Quicksilver enhance his ability with the Mind Scepter, Hydra also developed a powerful defense system. Around this base, there is an invisible energy shield. Even ordinary missiles can hardly break this energy shield. But the research in this area is not very sufficient. They estimated that when the power of the psychic scepter was fully exerted, this defensive shield could even withstand a nuclear bomb attack. But at the moment, a subordinate hurriedly came to Baron Schurter and said anxiously, "Boss, there is a plane flying towards us." The man is very anxious. Because, under normal circumstances, the radar system in the base can detect enemy intrusions. However, their radar did not spot the plane. The man who was still on duty above the castle saw the plane with a telescope. In this case, it is estimated that the plane is almost over the castle. Hearing the report from his subordinates, Baron Schultel's face immediately became serious. Today, the entire Hydra organization has been destroyed by S.H.I.E.L.D. except for its secret base. If the guess is correct, I guess the person who came this time must also be from S.H.I.E.L.D. It's just that I don't know if it is the ordinary special service team or those terrifying Avengers. All staff are on alert, ready to fight, Baron Stecker said in a loud voice. In fact, for this battle, Baron Schurt has no chance of winning. But he felt that for S.H.I.E.L.D., he definitely had value in using it. So, even if this base is destroyed by S.H.I.E.L.D., there is no problem with his own life safety. Moreover, he has one of the biggest insurances. That is Quicksilver. If you want to run away, just let Quicksilver take you away. It's just that Baron Schurt did not want to give up these research results. However, just when Baron Schurt gave an order, the subordinate was about to go out and arrange everything. Suddenly a buzzing sound came from the sky. The plane has obviously reached overhead, so fast. Whether it was Baron Schurtler or the subordinate, they were all stunned. This is too fast, it came directly to the top of the head. Fortunately, the protection outside this castle is always open. Even if the plane came overhead, I'm afraid I won't be able to get in for a while. Go and arrange an active attack, Baron Shurtel ordered again. However, strange things happened again. A figure suddenly smashed through the roof of the castle and fell from the sky. Boom. The figure directly smashed the roof of the castle, and, along with a pile of rubble, fell less than 3 meters away in front of Baron Shirt. The whole room became messy. In fact, Lin Yu rarely took the initiative to participate in this kind of battle before. Even if you participate, you will hide behind. But this time, Lin Yu worked very hard for Wanda's brother. As soon as the plane reached the sky above the castle, Lin Yu jumped down directly. The other Avengers all dispersed to prevent the enemy from escaping. This battle really started according to Lin Yu's orders. Ding. There is a problem with the protective cover of the Hydra's secret base, and it has become a little unstable. Lin Yu actually forgot the existence of the protective cover. Fortunately, the system has never had an accident. When Lin Yu reached the sky above the castle, the protective cover suddenly had some problems. Let Lin Yu easily fall into the castle. Seeing Lin Yu, Baron Shurter was stunned. You, who are you? How did you get in? He asked in horror. Although Lin Yu looks harmless to humans and animals, but the protective cover of his castle is clearly always open. Why would anyone be able to jump in directly? And this guy jumped from the plane and landed on the ground, unscathed. Obviously, not ordinary people, but didn't wait for Lin Yu to speak. In the sky, another dark shadow fell from the sky. After passing through the big hole that Lin Yu smashed out, he landed in this room again. That is a husky. Baron Jeans Kurt was surprised. The husky looked chubby and quite cute, but when it fell from such a high place, it was as unharmed as the human being. How did you do that? Is that dog not an ordinary dog? At this moment, the Hydra soldiers in the room and outside the door also reacted. Holding up their guns, they surrounded Lin Yu and Erha. Although Baron Shurtel knew that even if this person and dog were surrounded by his own soldiers, he might not have any effect. But when seeing so many men around him, Baron Shurtel felt a little relieved. He asked again, "Who are you and how did you get in?" However, his words were interrupted again by strange things. Baron Shurtel might think that today is the day he has seen the most strange things. Definitely, he is not alone in thinking so. The Avengers outside have the same idea, only Baron Shurtel hasn't adapted yet. While he was speaking, the soldiers raised their guns and aimed them at Lin Yu. The voice of the system rang in Lin Yu's mind. Ding, Cecilia, a member of Hydra, had a bad idea for the host in his heart. The weapon in his hand was negatively mutated and exploded. Ding, Hydra member Thompson had a bad idea for the host in his heart, and the weapon in his hand was negatively mutated and exploded. Ding, Hydra member as soon as Baron Stark's voice fell, he heard explosions around him. Bang. Bang. Monument. The sound is not loud, after all, it is just a bullet and not a missile. But this scene stunned Kurt. Why did all the weapons in his hand explode? What's happening here? Except for Baron Steckel, all the Hydra soldiers were stunned. They looked at the guns that had smoked in their hands, their eyes widened, and they were a little at a loss. And at the moment, Lin Yu didn't seem to care. He glanced casually at Baron Shurtel in front of him, and did not rush to answer his question. Instead, he looked at the dog next to him and said, "Go and find it to see if the target is here." On the way here, Lin Yu already told Erha their purpose of coming here this time. And also described the image of Quicksilver to Erha. Immediately afterwards, after hearing Lin Yu's order, Erha's body quickly changed. Baron Steckel and the Hydra soldiers on the side were all stunned. Erha's body did not grow bigger this time, nor did there appear yellow mucus, nor did it turn green or dark red. However, 2 other heads suddenly grew out of its shoulders. Immediately afterwards, Erha split into 3 again. The 3 identical Erhas are just like duplication. Then, in the horrified eyes of everyone, 2 hectares ran in 3 directions. While running, he twitched his nose, as if he was smelling something. At this moment, after seeing Erha leave, Lin Yu finally slowly raised his head and looked at the Baron Stoke in front of him. But at the moment, Baron Stockel's expression was a bit sluggish. Everything that happened in front of me today completely exceeded the limits of Baron Stokely's imagination. Everything is too weird. First, there was a sudden problem with the protective shield outside of my castle, and then a person and a dog suddenly fell from the sky, and then all the robs in the hands of my soldiers exploded. Finally, that silly-looking husky pet dog split into 3 in front of him. "Oh my God, are you dreaming?" Baron Steckel muttered to himself in a daze. Except for dreams, his knowledge can't explain all this. At this moment, Lin Yu smiled slightly and said, "No, you didn't dream." "Who the hell are you? What's your purpose?" Baron Schulter asked for the 3rd time. He is very at a loss now. Because, even if someone from S.H.I.E.L.D. came, he was not afraid of anything. S.H.I.E.L.D. is not a very violent unit after all. Being caught by them is at best a trial or a jail time or something. At least life will not be threatened, but the young man in front of him gave Baron Schurt a lot of uncertainty. He doesn't know who the other party is, let alone what the other party's purpose is. "Oh, by the way, do you have a guy named Pietro here?" Lin Yu asked. Hearing the name Pietro, the expression on Baron Steckel's face changed obviously. Although he tried to hide it, Lin Yu could still tell. At the moment, although the soldiers didn't have guns in their hands, they all took out their heads and came to Baron Stokes' side one after another. Their most important task now is not to deal with Lin Yu, but to protect their boss. Seeing the soldiers around him, Baron Steckel seemed to regain a little confidence. He said coldly, "You have come to the wrong place. There is no one named Pietro here. Tell me your identity and purpose, otherwise you won't have a chance to leave here." Although Lin Yu looks weird, there are still so many soldiers beside him. And in this castle, at least he has close to hundreds of soldiers and various thermal weapons. Dealing with one person and one dog shouldn't be a problem. Moreover, as soon as Lin Yu arrived, one of his soldiers had quietly gathered the troops. At that time, hundreds of fully armed warriors will smash each other into a sieve. There is nothing to be afraid of. Baron Steckel was still cheering himself up. The panic on his face gradually disappeared, but Lin Yu is obviously not a person who likes nonsense. Since Lin Yu injected the perfect version of Extremis, he has never fought much. At this moment, seeing that Steckel didn't seem to be going to tell himself about Quicksilvers, a strange smile suddenly appeared on his face. Then, the body suddenly became hot. The power of Extremis burst out instantly. Lin Yu's body came to Baron Steckel in an instant. This scene frightened Steckel. The soldiers around him also all acted. They waved their daggers one after another and greeted Lin Yu. But this kind of ordinary soldier, who wants to deal with Lin Yu, who now has a 5-level system, is simply looking for death. Powerful level godfather like Odin, wanting to be disadvantageous to Lin Yu in his heart, are all messed up by negative mutations. Let alone these ordinary people, and he shot Lin Yu directly. Ding, Cecilia, a member of Hydra, shot the host in his heart. A negative mutation appeared in his arm and he didn't obey the command anymore. The Hydra member just took 2 steps forward and put 7 songs directly on his chest. He rolled his eyes and fell to the ground. Ding, Hydra member Thompson shot the host in his heart, and the dagger in his hand was negatively mutated, and the temperature instantly reached 1,000 degrees. Another Hydra soldier suddenly heard a scorching smell from his hand. Accompanied by a blue smoke, he wailed wildly, clutching his hand, and rolled on the ground. Baron Steckel was terrified. Not only because Lin Yu came to him so quickly, but also because of what happened to the Hydra soldiers next to him. When they pointed their guns at each other for the first time, they all exploded. And the second time, when they were about to attack each other with a dagger, something strange happened again. Obviously, this is not an accident. It's the problem with the young man in front of him. Who is he and what kind of strange ability does he possess? Baron Steckel was not an ordinary person with little knowledge. As a little boss of Hydra, he has seen a lot of weird things that ordinary people have never seen in a lifetime, and even things like mind scepters have been used by him to study. So, he is very clear. What I encountered was definitely a very terrifying human being. No, maybe it's not human, but at this time, Lin Yu suddenly stretched out one of his hands and grabbed it on Baron Steckel's neck. Then, apply lightly. Steckel's body was slowly lifted by Lin Yu with one hand. After being injected with Extremis, Lin Yu's power is almost stronger than the Captain of the United States. In particular, Lin Yu's Extremis has been systemically improved, so the improvement of various physical qualities is much stronger than the general Extremis. It was easy to pick up Baron Steckel with one hand. Baron Steckel, who was held by Lin Yu in his hand, flushed suddenly, and seemed to be out of breath. His two hands firmly grasped Lin Yu's arm, trying to break free. But obviously, all this is in vain. He is just an ordinary person. In front of Lin Yu, there was no way to fight back. At this moment, Lin Yu smiled again and said, "Tell me, where is Pietro?" In fact, he wanted to answer Lin Yu's question a long time ago. However, Lin Yu never gave him a chance, at the moment. He was so suffocated that he couldn't speak. He could only stretch out one hand and pointed to his left side. "There is a wall over there." Lin Yu nodded slightly. It seemed that he was in the room on the left. However, before Lin Yu put down Baron Steckel, and then went to Quicksilver, he suddenly saw the figure of a man reflected in the eyes of Baron Steckel, who suddenly appeared at the door. Lin Yu's eyesight is naturally very good. Therefore, Lin Yu can clearly see that the figure has silver hair and is dressed exactly the same as in the movies he watched in his previous life. Pietro. Quicksilver. What made Lin Yu even more surprised was that Pietro actually moved. In the reflection of Baron Steckel's eyes, Lin Yu could clearly see that Pietro's figure disappeared. Lin Yu also knew that it was not that he disappeared. It was that his eyes couldn't keep up with his speed at all. Baron Steckel apparently saw it too. A look of fear immediately appeared on his face. He was scared. Although Pietro has been in this base for a long time, he has never obeyed his orders. If he wants to shoot Lin Yu, it must be him who is unlucky. After all, Lin Yu is still holding one hand on his neck. Steckel knows very well that if Lin Yu wants to kill himself, he only needs to apply a gentle force, and his neck may be broken. Even if Pietro wanted to save himself, I'm afraid it's impossible. Definitely. He also estimated that he would not save himself. When Pietro disappeared from Lin Yu's sight, Lin Yu's face also showed a trace of worry. And it is not oneself who is worried, it was Pietro. Before figuring out whether Pietro is Wanda's brother, Lin Yu doesn't want Pietro to get any harm. Especially if he wants to shoot himself, then even Lin Yu can't control it. After all, the system judged that as long as the guy who shots himself, he would be affected by negative mutations. But in front of Pietro's terrifying speed, Lin Yu never had the opportunity to remind him. At this time, in Lin Yu's mind, a system prompt sounded suddenly. Ding. Before the system prompt was finished, Lin Yu heard a crackling sound coming from behind him. Pietro's figure flew from Lin Yu's side. Lin Yu could even see the horrified expression on his face, which disappeared in a flash. Then, boom. Pietro slammed his head against the wall behind Baron Steckel and went into a coma. At this time, the system prompt in Lin Yu's mind finally became clear. Ding. Quicksilver Pietro wants to take a shot at the host. He is very dissatisfied with the shoe on his right foot and decides to trip him to stop his immature thoughts. Lin Yu smiled bitterly. Then he put down Baron Steckel. He looked at Pietro, who had passed out of a coma, and walked slowly to his side. At the moment, Pietro looked very miserable, his head was still bleeding, and the worst place was his ankle. There is swelling up at a speed visible to the naked eye. Moreover, it looks like it is definitely a broken bone. What kind of sin is this? This idiot wants to shoot himself without asking anything, it is simply unreasonable. After thinking about it, Lin Yu still stretched out his hand, grabbed Pietro's straight arm, and pulled him from the ground. Although this guy is indeed a bit stupid, he may be Wanda's brother after all. It's really hard to justify seeing death without saving. Bumblebee, come and pick me up, Lin Yu said into his earphones. After a few seconds, the bumblebee's figure suddenly fell from the sky. He squeezed in from the hole that Lin Yu had hit when he fell down. Then, Lin Yu threw Pietro's body directly to Bumblebee, and then said, "Go, let's go to S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters." Lin Yu is not a doctor. Naturally, I don't know if Pietro fell into a vegetative state. But Lin Yu knows that there are good doctors in S.H.I.E.L.D. That invisible female doctor from Bongza country who can repair the wound on Barton's waist, Zhao Hailun. While flying out on the Bumblebee, Lin Yu connected to Nick Fury's phone. "Director Fury, I have a wounded here who needs treatment. Tell Dr. Zhao Hailun at headquarters. I'll be there in a while. Also, arrange for them to attack, I'll go back first," Lin Yu said hurriedly. "How do you know that Dr. Hailun Zhao is at the headquarters?" Nick Fury asked. But Lin Yu has hung up the phone and did not hear Nick Fury's words. In the cabin of Megatron, Nick Fury's face was dazed for a while, and then he sighed slightly. It's useless to entangle Lin Yu with anything. Nick Fury picked up the communicator and contacted Dr. Hailun Zhao at headquarters. Immediately afterwards, Nick Fury contacted the Captain of the United States, Steve, and gave the order to launch an offense. Iron Man Tony took the lead. Several missiles bombed the castle's protective shield first. Then he flew in directly from a window. Then Thor, flashing with lightning all over his body, also fell in. Finally, it is the Captain of the United States, crawling in slowly from the wall of the castle. But when they came to this secret base, but found out, the strange thing is the donkey. There is no one in this base? No one? Are you kidding me? Isn't there news that there are at least hundreds of Hydra soldiers here? Isn't it said that there is the only remaining leader of Hydra, Baron Steckel, who is known as the villain of Hydra? People, it only took Lin Yu a few minutes to enter the castle and then take Pietro out. And this time, when all the Avengers rushed into the castle, they found that all the Hydra soldiers in the castle were gone. This is strange. Lin Yu came in too short a time, it is impossible to kill them all in such a short time. And even if you kill them, it's impossible to have no corpses. What's the situation? With the help of Jarvis, Tony began to scan the entire castle. But the answer given by Jarvis is the same as what they saw. There is not a single figure. But Jarvis found some abnormalities. After using the thermal scan, Jarvis found that there are actually 3 heat sources in the entire castle. With the help of Jarvis, Tony quickly walked through countless rooms and came to one of the heat sources. And at the moment, Erha is throwing a shoe out of his mouth. Seeing Erha, Tony was taken aback. Then, when he saw a few shoes on the ground, Tony seemed to understand something. Could Lin Yu's pet dog eat everyone in the castle in a few minutes? It seems that there is only this possibility. Seeing Tony's arrival, Erha didn't react at all. It naturally knew Tony. After all, Lin Yu has taken him with these Avengers many times. So, since I can't eat it, I don't want to take a look at it. Erha licked his lips and left the room from Tony's side. Immediately afterwards, the 2 hectares slowly got together. Although the 3 of them have 3 bodies, in fact, they still have only one mind. It is completely different from the 3-headed Helldog with 3 thoughts. So, when they have completed their tasks, they will come together again. Become a body again. At this moment, Tony Stark finally recovered from the slight daze. He said to the communicator, "No need to look for it. It is estimated that all those Hydra members have become the food of Consultant Lin's pet dog." In the communicator, Thor's surprised voice came. "What? You said that in just a few minutes, that dog has eaten hundreds of people?" Thor doesn't quite believe it. Even in Asgard, there are no such edible animals. Hearing Thor's words, Tony obviously didn't bother to argue with him, just said, "I just saw the dog spit out a few shoes in his mouth with my own eyes. Also, Jarvis has scanned the entire castle. There is no one here." There was a strange silence in the communicator. Except Thor, everyone else didn't even want to say a word. Lin Yu told them to guard outside, but none of them ran out. And now, Lin Yu is gone. When they were about to show off, they found that all the enemies had been eaten by Lin Yu's dogs. Everyone's enthusiasm was extinguished. They were all wiped out by Lin Yu. Before the battle began, they were still arguing about what tactics should be used and who would take the lead, but they didn't expect to fight for loneliness. But fortunately, Lin Yu left in a hurry to save Pietro as soon as possible, leaving the scepter behind. Otherwise, these Avengers would have completely run away for nothing. Finally, Tony took the Soul Scepter and returned to Megatron. The Avengers also came back dejectedly. Hydra's last stronghold on the Earth just disappeared. And at the moment, the gate of the castle, Erha suddenly dragged his fat body out from inside. It seems to be a lot fatter again. At this time, it looked up to the sky. Megatron in airplane form has become a small black spot in the sky. Erha's innocent, Wong, called twice. It seems that some grievances. It suddenly discovered that it had just been patronizing cannibalism and had forgotten to go with its owner. Now that's good, the Avengers are all gone. Shield headquarters. Lin Yu was riding a bumblebee and came here soon. At the moment, Dr. Zhao Hailun is already waiting for Lin Yu. Seeing Lin Yu's arrival, she and some of her men hurriedly helped Pietro down in the Hornet. "What's his situation?" Zhao Hailun asked. Lin Yu hurriedly replied, "He hit the wall with his head, see if it can be saved." Lin Yu was speechless. There was nothing wrong, This guy was dumbfounded, and had to trouble himself. Zhao Hailun nodded, then looked at the injury on Pietro's head and said, "There should be no problem. I will take him inside to check it out." Lin Yu also nodded. At the moment, just after Zhao Hailun took Pietro and left, Lin Yu also remembered the system prompts in his mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for his in-depth participation in the core plot of the Marvel world to eliminate the last stronghold of Hydra and gain 5 plot points. Hearing this system prompt, Lin Yu was immediately overjoyed. Unexpectedly, this small plot that just started in Avengers' second episode could actually get 5 plot points. Lin Yu thought there would only be 2 points. What Lin Yu didn't expect was that although the plot did not seem to be very important, it represented the true demise of Hydra. Hydra is not powerful in the Marvel world, however, at least it is also an important villain. It's normal to have a 5-point plot point. Soon, Dr. Zhao Hailun walked out of the ward and came in front of Lin Yu. Pietro's injury is not very serious, he just smashed into a coma. When he was running at high speed, he tripped and fell, and he did not fall lightly. But there is no life-threatening. It is estimated that in a day or so, he will wake up on his own. Hearing this answer, Lin Yu was relieved. In this case, Lin Yu will not stay at SHIELD headquarters, bid farewell to Dr. Zhao Hailun, sit on the Hornet, and return to his own space carrier. At the moment, Wanda didn't even know that she suddenly had an older brother. When Lin Yu first met Pietro in the castle, Lin Yu knew he was Wanda's brother. There are indeed many similarities in their looks. After thinking about it, Lin Yu decided to speak directly to Wanda. It should be a good thing to have a brother. Wanda. Lin Yu was on the edge of the pool and said to Wanda, who was closing her eyes with Sharon in the pool. "Brother, what's the matter?" Wanda swam over, resting her hands on the edge of the pool, and asked Lin Yu. At the moment, Wanda only wore a simple swimsuit, and almost most of her white skin was exposed. Lin Yu couldn't help but look down. No glasses need to go out. Wanda naturally saw Lin Yu's gaze, but she didn't care at all, and deliberately held it up. Over the years, the two have been living under one roof. Although always called by his brother and sister, Wanda never treated Lin Yu as a real brother. If it wasn't for Lin Yu to be proactive enough, maybe the child would be able to make soy sauce now. "What's the matter, brother?" Wanda asked Mimi again with a smile. Lin Yu is a man of 2 generations, and his concentration is still very strong. Moreover, this is my own little sister, not such a beast. Lin Yu raised his head and looked at the sky in the distance. He calmed down for a while. Then, he said, "Sister, you still have an older brother living in the world." "Brother? Isn't my brother you?" Wanda asked suspiciously. She feels that Lin Yu today is a little strange. It seems that the expression is a little abnormal. It's very different from the previous kind of indifferent to everything. It seems that something big has happened, very serious. This is strange. Lin Yu smiled helplessly, and then said, "Yes, I am your brother, but I am talking about your other brother, twin brother." Upon hearing this, Wanda's expression immediately changed a bit. She has lived in an orphanage since she has a memory. "I never knew I had a twin brother." Wanda put his hand on Lin Yu's forehead, touched the mold, and said, "Brother, do you have a fever? How come I have twin brothers? Aren't we all orphans since we were young?" "Forget it. I'll take you to see it." Lin Yu simply didn't explain. Because he himself didn't know how Wanda came to the orphanage. Even Lin Yu didn't know what happened when he was a child. After all, Lin Yu is a traverser. When he crossed to this body, he was already a senior orphan in the orphanage. But it's not that I am going to see it now. Pietro may not be able to wake up, and even if he wakes up, he has to recover first. Otherwise, if I see Wanda's excitement, it will be no good if there are any problems in his head. Subsequently, Lin Yu called Nick Fury again and asked him to take care of Pietro. Definitely, it is not normal care. There must be necessary precautions. Otherwise, it will be difficult to find him if he runs away. And although Pietro is not a bad person, and even good-minded, he doesn't have a good impression of Tony Stark. Therefore, Lin Yu specifically urged Pietro not to see Tony Stark. 3 days later, SHIELD called and Dr. Zhao Hailun said that Pietro's head had recovered very well. And the ankle is also healed. Lin Yu took Wanda to SHIELD. After several days of digestion, Wanda's mood also calmed down. But when I followed Lin Yu to SHIELD and met Pietro, Wanda's spirit still fluctuated greatly in an instant. Pietro is too. There is an inexplicable connection between the twins, not to mention that they are not ordinary people. And the crimson power in Wanda's body is the power to control the mind. When she first saw Pietro, she knew that this person had a blood relationship with herself. Pietro also recognized Wanda, because Pietro once heard his parents say that he still has a twin sister. The moment he saw Wanda, he felt a trace of connection in the dark. When the brother and sister met, their eyes were in tears. At this moment, Lin Yu called Roar to Nick Fury, and then the two of them walked outside quietly. Lin Yu is going to give Wanda and Pietro a separate space. After all, the two brothers and sisters have not seen each other in more than 10 years. And at the moment, Wanda also turned her head and looked at Lin Yu's back, her eyes full of happiness. This man secretly helped him find his twin brother. Lin Yu's mood is also a little uneasy. In fact, Lin Yu has always regarded Wanda as his sister. There are no other ideas. Otherwise, I would never see Wanda with see-through glasses. Every time a beautiful customer arrives in the grocery store, Lin Yu also deliberately avoids Wanda to appreciate it. And at the moment, Lin Yu was also quite happy to see Wanda found his own brother. But immediately afterwards, Lin Yu frowned slightly. He suddenly thought of a question. According to the current plot, it seems that it will not take long for Vision to be born, right? Vision? The guy made by Tony and Bruce Banner? There will be some strange relationships between him and Wanda. Lin Yu's face gradually became cold. It is indeed a good thing to find a twin brother, but Lin Yu is not willing to find a boyfriend for Wanda. What a joke. Lin Yu suddenly realized the seriousness of the problem. Think of Wanda as your sister? Sister shit. Vision is a bird. Lin Yu made a decision instantly. I want to strangle Vision in the mother's womb. I just saw Wanda and Pietro recognize each other and thought they had helped Lin Yu a lot. Nick Fury, who was a little pleased, suddenly saw that Lin Yu's expression seemed a bit wrong. In his heart, he was suddenly taken aback. What's the situation? At this moment, Lin Yu also turned his head, with a pair of cold eyes, looking straight at Nick Fury. Nick Fury was terrified. Consultant Lin, what else do you want? Nick Fury sneered. He is really afraid of Lin Yu. Although Lin Yu had already boarded his own ship, he was considered to be with him. But Nick Fury always feels that he has invited a great god back, and when his services are not good, there may be disasters. Definitely. After serving, there may not be any good results. Lin Yu's face was blue, and his mood was extremely bad. Director Fury, what are Tony Stark and Bruce Banner doing now? Lin Yu asked coldly. They seem to be celebrating with the other Avengers, Nick Fury said weakly. He was actually going to go. But when Lin Yu came to Avengers headquarters, he could not be absent. So, I didn't go. At the moment, hearing Lin Yu's question, he thought that Lin Yu was a little angry because he didn't notify him to go to the celebration party. But Lin Yu is obviously not angry about this matter. After hearing Nick Fury's words, Lin Yu's eyes narrowed instantly. If they are having a celebration party, isn't it the moment Ultron appeared tonight? After Ultron appears, it will escape to the online world. Then, build your own body with vibranium? And that body will eventually become Vision. Although it will take a long time in the middle. But Lin Yu, who is in anger, can't manage that much. If it had been in the past, Lin Yu would definitely let Ultron appear, and then make a lot of noise, and harvest a wave of plot points by himself. But today, Lin Yu decided, kill everything in the cradle. Go to Miao's plot point, Vision must not appear. Although Lin Yu trusts Wanda and his feelings, it does not mean that he will let Vision appear in front of him casually. It's like two girlfriends who are in love. Although a woman is loyal to a man, that man would not want other men to keep paying attention to his girlfriend. This is the possessiveness that belongs to men. Lin Yu is also not sure if Vision will have a good impression of Wanda. But Lin Yu will not give him this opportunity. For this reason, Lin Yu is willing to give up a lot of plot points. Go. Take me to Tony and Banner's laboratory. Lin Yu said quietly to Nick Fury. Upon hearing Lin Yu's request, Nick Fury hesitated slightly and said, but they are not there. Lin Yu's face became colder, and Nick Fury even felt cold on his body. Take me there, or you will be killed, shield. Lin Yu has never threatened a person so seriously. This is the first time. But it's quite useful. Nick Fury hurriedly responded. Okay, I will take you there.